Hello everyone, welcome to the Computer Game Show. I'm not David Turners, I'm Sean Bell, and I'm joined by Matthew Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
Dave's poorly. To be honest, I don't think any of us are 100%, are we? I think we're all either knackered or ill or something. But yeah, Dave has officially written himself off this week. That sounds like he's had an accident or something. He hasn't, as far as I'm aware. No, he signed himself
he's a
off,
write-off.
is what I mean. Yeah, he is right off. Put him in the scrap heap, mate. That's all he's good for. Recycle him. Do you know what I mean?
He's basically a mini Metro that you kind of reverse into a lamppost, and it's a tiny dent, but also that's enough to... That's it.
Yeah, there's no point. You can't get the parts anymore. You know what I mean?
No, you really can't. It's, you might as well, 50 quid scrap heap and then start again.
More than it's worth.
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you so much to our Patreon producers for this month. We've got Aaron Patrick, the QuickBooks chap, Simon Nelson, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Trans Rights are Human Rights, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Happy Birthday Sam and Neil, Gabsy Wabsy, Rocketman76, Rex Reese, Happy New Year Sam, Love from Neil, Grey Dragonclaw, Fred Fenge, Sensible Steve Garrett, Lloydie B93, Smooth Monk. Is it right? Hang on. Is it Monkey or Monk?
No, it's definitely Monkey. I've got a huge apology to make. Well, let's do the list, then we'll do an apology after
that. Farley Sexy Fan. And a new patron producer, Happy Mother's Day Sam, love from Dr. Farley's Sexy Fan.
I can't believe
this is getting a bit. It's getting a bit meta now.
Unbelievable.
But thank you for going. That's
going to get so confusing when other people change their names, and then this person will have to change their name. But yeah, absolutely incredible work. But yeah, on the Smooth Monkey front, so I've got a huge apology to make to Smooth Monkey. So. They became a Full Nels member about 4 weeks ago, and it was read out Smooth Monkey, that's correct. And then in the weeks since then, I must have wrote like new Full Nels in our document that we used to read out during the show. And when I deleted that, I must have also deleted the Y. And so David has been saying Smooth Monk for the last 2 weeks. Not his own fault, absolutely mine. So huge apology, Smooth Monkey. It was, very poor Google Doc editing.
I mean, if you want a refund, we'd understand, but please don't ask for one. They all went full Nels by going to patreon.com/dear TCGS. Patreon.com/TCGS. There's different tiers. We're getting into a new month. When you listen to this, if you listen to it on the day it comes out, just wait till the 1st of April because we don't want you to get charged twice. But obviously every month we do a bonus show, and then if you're at the whatever it is, the $8.50 plus taxes tier, we do a live video thing as well. And we're going to do something different next month, aren't we? And I'm quite excited
gonna mix
about
it. As much as we've enjoyed the various talks overs and stuff, I feel like we need a refresh of that. So
yes, we're going to start doing something new. Are we ready to talk about that, or are we?
Is this the thing? Okay, is this? I'm not saying this is my idea, but is this an extension of what we talked about?
Should we just talk about it? I think that's all right.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We are doing it. So basically, I think April's one is going to be the VR fishing stream. However, we've also talked about doing like an ongoing tournament between the four of us, haven't we? Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure. We're not yet sure if the fishing stream is part of that, or if the fishing stream is just going to be like an hour and a half of just us having a nice time fishing.
Just having a lovely casual fish. We're still trying to work out the logistics of how we do like a multiplayer stream properly, so you can see what we're doing and whatnot. But that's the rough plan at the moment. Obviously, things may change, but yeah, we're going to mix up a little bit.
I'm really looking forward to doing that. I think it's going to be really fun.
Oh, I can't wait to do some VR fishing and the other stuff that we've hopefully got planned as well.
Yeah, man. Feedback. I mean, I wasn't here last week. I don't really have much to say. I was quite amused.
I want to read all these notes you've probably taken from.
Well, there was two things. I was amused by Dave not realising he could just make his own drinks at home. That was weird.
Long Island iced tea thing. Getting a professional to do it is a little bit different than you just like throwing loads of alcohol together. You can learn how to do cocktails properly at home. During lockdown, obviously I don't drink, but Nu does, and so she just got a load of stuff, load of kit, and we just made cocktails. Obviously, it was weird because obviously we were both making them, but she had to drink them all. So there'd be you'd open the fridge and there'd be 3 vodka martinis still just sitting there,
waiting to be drunk. But,
Mate, did she have like a full set where she was like shaking, with like the silver cylinders?
Yeah, we've got the shaker and everything. It's
nice.
It's good. It's just a fun thing to do. You can make whatever you want. It's fine. The other thing is, I was amazed we didn't have any feedback on the fridge that comes really loudly.
Me too.
No one said. I mean, obviously on the show, like everyone laughed. I assume you misspoke. Yeah, that wasn't.
Yeah, so obviously at the time when David was like, "What?" or Dave and Sean. Well, I mean, Evan both said that. Evan said that, but I thought I just said hums, but listening back, it was comes, comes, and
really loudly.
When I was doing the edit, I couldn't believe it. So I was so convinced. I just said hums at the time, David, but when I said no, the fridge hums really loudly. It's
See, I've got to admit, I missed that when you said that, Matt. I didn't hear it either, like at the time. But then, listening back, I mean, I made Chin listen to it, and she couldn't stop laughing. She thought it was hilarious.
Oh my god! I did not let Jill listen to that bit. I can't believe I didn't get a single bit of feedback either. But that's
really weird.
Nobody noticed it.
Before we get on to listener feedback, we should also say we have released some extra tickets for TCGS Con.
So we have,
and they've already started flying out.
I can't believe it.
There's about 30 left. Is that right?
Just under 30 at the time. Well, actually, as of Sunday just gone. So who knows how many by the time this show's out? But I thought, okay, release some extra tickets, sell maybe 5, but we've sold a bit more than that. So we've had less than 30 remaining now, and this is our last batch. We can't add any more. So if you want to go on July 2nd, which is when the TCGS Con in Sheffield is happening, 4 hours have been ring-fenced, shall we say, for Laser Quest. If you don't want to do 4 hours of Laser Quest, there are other cool things you can do at the Laser Quest venue. After that, we have an hour break, then a live show at Meltdown Gaming Bar in Sheffield, just literally around the corner, and then drinks and games from, 8 till 8. That's all happening on Saturday, the 2nd of July in Sheffield. So if you want to get one of those last few tickets, go to tcgs.co/tcgscon.
I keep forgetting there's like loads of other stuff to do at the Laser Quest place. There's a very strong chance that I'll do like a bit of Laser Quest, and then after that you'll find me at the mini golf, mate. It looks proper good.
I thought you were going to say mini bar, Sean.
Yeah, pay you 15 quid and you get to see me have my first drink in public.
Oh my god!
See how that goes.
This is all right.
Mini golf, and then there's the VR escape room stuff, which we all need to do together because I think that would be really funny.
Yeah, VR escape rooms, golf. There's consoles. The console stuff are at the gaming bar. But there's loads of stuff to do if you don't want to do 4 hours of Laser Quest. And honestly, in my current shape, I'm not sure I can handle 4 hours of Laser Quest. But we've not talked about this yet, and I will keep it very vague. But we've started working on a few bits. Just to give the Laser Quest a bit of flavour. Do you know what I mean? Bit of spice. Bit of oomph, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's creeping up. And I just can't believe we've sold this many tickets. So, but if you are listening and you want to go, then get over to the website sharpish before they all go.
100%. Right, what's the feedback from the listeners anyway?
Yeah, so Mock Turtle Soup has messaged, I watched Sean's Pokemon stream on Thursday and was thoroughly enjoying it for the hour or so I was in chat, reveling in the highs and lows of seeing Sean's 12-year-old sprite self-chasing some far-fetched through a forest to help out a distressed assistant before I had to bow out. Come Friday morning, I decided to watch the remainder of the stream on YouTube and was shocked to learn of the tragic passing of both Dr. Farley and Nigel. Sean still has his namesake in the party, but following the brutal slaying of Zumat and now Dr. Farley PhD, how long will it be before Dave has a Pokemon named after him, only to see it get one shot before getting a turn in? The emotional trauma is almost too much to handle.
Yeah, it's not been going well on the old Nuzlocke streams. A couple of weeks ago, I just got in a fight with like a child in just in the middle of nowhere.
Someone clip this.
And in the game, I mean. And and just for whatever reason, they just absolutely flattened 2 of my Pokemon, one of them being Dr. Farley, who was a drowsy, who literally hadn't even been in a fight yet. And he just got taken out in one hit, and it was very sad.
Any reason why you chose a drowsy for me, sure?
I can't remember. I think it was just, I couldn't think of I've been trying to do like pun names where possible, and then if we fail to do a pun name, that's how you end up with Nigel, for example. And yeah, someone suggested Dr. Farley, and I was like, fuck it, that'll do.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
And then this week, week just gone, I think the ROM I'm using is like corrupted or something. Hang
on, no, you mean the legal backup that you're using?
No, look, I've been very clear about this. I am playing it via a ROM, but I do own the game in real life, so it's fine. But yeah, I think the ROM I've used is buggered because it just, every time I walk into a new room, all the sprites are fucked, and there's or the level just doesn't appear or whatever. It's probably fixable, but I'm sort of thinking it's sort of run its course. I don't think there's much chance for recovery without doing a shitload of grinding at this point. I don't know. I'm not streaming this week anyway because Thursday is my birthday, but I think the Nuzlocke stuff might be dead.
Well, how much more in the game would you have to go to get the game finished?
Well, I've only got 2 badges, and I've been doing. How many weeks have I been doing it? 6 weeks now, I think. I've done 6 episodes of it.
Yeah, I think it was part 8 went live last week, so 8. Yeah,
8. Jesus. So yeah,
how many badges do I have to get?
I think it's 8 badges. 6. It's either 6 or 8 badges.
Ooh, no.
So yeah, probably done with it. To be honest,
man. What a sad way to end, just because of a glitch. Not even the game.
Yeah, I could probably source a different ROM, and maybe that would work. I don't know. I'll have a go, but if it's looking difficult to fix, I think that's probably it.
You could source a different ROM, and then for every battle after that, just go all out, and don't even worry about whether you're going to die or not. Just let them all, just have an actual head, and if they survive, they survive. If they don't, they went out in a blaze of glory.
Well, because if it was just the sprites being fucked up, which is what initially that was all that was happening, right? So as I'm walking around, all the characters look all glitched and weird. I'd probably just run with that because it'd be quite funny. But then when the environment stopped appearing altogether, I was like, okay, this is unplayable now. So
I skipped a bit to do the thumbnail where it's just the shadow of your character, where you're doing a character to control.
Yeah. So yeah, don't know. Watch this space, I guess.
Unbelievable. Not a Spaceship, Perfect Dark and The Initiative. Jez Corden, an Xbox podcaster, and I think he writes for Xbox Windows Gaming or whatever, spoke to some of the remaining staff, and it seems that the studio took a major pivot when taking on Perfect Dark, which led to the moving on of lots of staff. Initially, the studio was set up to have a flat structure with many of the big names being brought in to float about brand new ideas. Apparently, they struggled to move past the initial stages of any of these games, so the decision was taken to instead take on Perfect Dark and focus on a more traditional AAA release. This led to many who wanted to work in a less traditional way to part ways, and for studio head Darren Gallagher to take on a more leading role and hire his old team at Crystal Dynamics. Although it's a shame that this will maybe lead to less innovation, hopefully it will still result in Perfect Dark being a great game based on the talent that is still on board between the two studios. Cheers from SMW.
All right, interesting. I did not know any of that.
Yeah, it's good to get a bit more, because obviously you hear these stories about, hey, loads of people leaving, and okay, well, it's a doomed game, what's going on in the studio, blah blah blah. But lots of people come and go in gaming, and especially again, new studio with all the kind of struggles that any new studio would come up against. It's and especially having such a massive IP as well. There is pressure on it, although the expectations are probably relatively low. There's still pressure on delivering this big IP that they've got, and yes, it's a shame.
It's really interesting and also kind of sad, really. The idea that it sounds like this studio was set up to bring about new ideas and everything, and then it's just okay, make this game instead.
Do Perfect
Dark.
We've
got Perfect Dark, just make this. And it's just, that is a bit of a shame.
Well, yeah, but then a modern Perfect Dark still has plenty of scope. Because, I was never a big Perfect Dark guy, but there was some stupid shit in those games, right? In a good way.
Well, and that's one of the things that was always been a bit of a shame about sort of the trajectory of first-person shooters after GoldenEye and also after Perfect Dark, who, as you said, they had a lot of mechanics in them that have never really been copied or sort of iterated on at all. The idea of using all the gadgets and stuff like that is fascinating, but you never really see that very much, which is a shame.
Yeah. So they might still do something weird and
there's
wonderful
lots of
with it, I
potential
guess.
for weird, cool stuff. And I would love, like a big budget AAA game to have this weird kind of, weird spy side of weird kind of gadgets and whatnot. There's lots of potential for good stuff there, but hopefully we see it. I mean, at some point. God knows when it's due to come out originally, but it's going to be a long old way, I would imagine. I would imagine.
You're right.
Rex Reese, lads, I want to send my formal apologies, as I think a Full Nails member should be expected to attend the live shows and all the laser-related endeavours. For some reason, I don't think my pregnant wife would appreciate the cost of a hotel and travel being taken out of our pram/nappy fund. I wondered if you'd be taking submissions from Full Nails members who can't attend, so that you can put a cardboard cutouts in the arena as either spectators of the live show or targets for Laser Crest. If Millwall FC can manage it, I don't really see why TCGS can't. Also, just to weigh in on the few hundred debate, a few hundred is less than 500, just like a few is less than 5. Controversially, I think quite a few push it up a bit, so quite a few hundred, although a nod phrase, could be up to 800. Anything over 900 is a grand, and if you disagree, you're a Tory. I think that's probably covered it by Reese there.
Quite a few. Does anyone say quite a few hundred? Is that a thing?
I would say no. It's just, I always thought few was a lot, but I didn't know it's less than 5. I guess that makes a lot more sense. And that's now the end of that.
The cardboard cutouts thing is quite a good idea, but also quite expensive.
There is that, but we need everyone to send us full head to toe photographs. I just remember the time when I was trying to source a Commander Riker. Sort of cardboard cutout. Yeah.
And that was.
Is this for you? Is this for your own bedroom, or was
it?
This...
was actually just. It was just my own use.
Were you doing the Home Alone thing where you're alone for the weekend? You had a train set. You put the cardboard cutout on the train to pretend people were home.
Yeah. No, I just wanted it in my bedroom.
I just hang out with him. Yeah, cool.
No, not cool. Not cool, Sean.
Yeah, that's extremely normal behaviour.
We're going to end with Kurt Lewin. Who, for those who haven't been paying attention, about 4 weeks ago we had some feedback about Gran Turismo. We commented on the feedback saying, no, you're wrong. Kurt came back saying, no, I'm right. And now this is the end. Kurt Lewin says, hands up, I was wrong. There we go. Our long national nightmare is over.
Fair dues.
I think we can accept that. I mean, that's impressive.
No one likes to see Dave win. But unfortunately, that's what's happened here. Thanks.
And he's not even here to accept the win, so we'll take it on Dave's behalf. Thank you, Kurt.
I mean, when Dave hears this, I reckon it'll heal him. I recken he'll be jumping out of bed.
He'll be sort of springing his step.
He just needs to remember that about all the Wiimote stuff, and how
Let's
wrong
not
he
get
was
that
about
started
that.
again.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Please, no. That's it for feedback. Go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Leave your feedback or leave us a question.
James, I would like you to, if you don't mind, imagine we're at the Oscars. I'm on stage. I've just made a, genuinely pretty shitty joke at the expense of your wife. And then what I want you to do is to just lose your shit and come at me. There's maybe other ways you could have dealt with the situation, but I want you to walk straight up and slap me across the face with the news, please.
So you want me to get up from my chair, and saunter up, and then basically just blast it all over you?
Absolutely, yes, please, all over my face. Thank you.
Right?
Can we?
I can do that.
I mean, it's your edit, Matt. You do what you want. Do what you feel is right.
There will be some editing, all right. If that makes it in, then that says a lot about the show.
Okay, first bit of news is that GTA Plus is coming, which is for Grand Theft Auto Online. It's a new subscription service that's monthly. Apparently for PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think it's only for those, according to this Polygon story. So
and the S as well, right?
Yeah, presumably the S, but as in just like next generation or current gen or whatever.
Right.
And
what do you get?
Cost? Well, this is $5.99 a month. That's dollars. Mm-hmm. So presumably, I don't know,
$5.99 in pounds,
£12 or something. But apparently, so subscribers will get in-game cash, new items, upgrades, and discounts from the shop. So if you want to buy stuff, you get like a percentage off or whatever. But then also what you have to do is, if there are like all these items and stuff, you have to claim them in-game each month, because if you don't, then you lose them and they'll be gone. So you have to like make sure you get in there and pick up a hat or whatever that is included. I don't know,
trousers.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose the only surprise is that it's taken this long. I mean, obviously with GTA Online being tied to GTA 5, it's still technically like a full price game, although obviously there's been ways to get it for less.
Hang on.
Go on.
Question. Can you just download GTA Online now, though? On PlayStation 5 and Xbox?
Separate download.
It is now a separate,
And it's free. Is that right?
It's free on PS5 currently. I don't know if it's going to be free forever, but it's certainly a separate download.
I think.
So what does it cost on Xbox then? Just for GTA Online? Or
I think it's like £9.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
It is if
for his first 3 months, it's free on PS5.
Yeah, I've played a bit on the Series S, which I'll talk about in a bit. But it's, I mean, the amount of copies of that are in the wild, the amount of people who play GTA Online. I mean, obviously, it's quite comfortably made money up until now just by selling, the in-game cash and stuff. But I guess this is just another way to get some money out of people.
They're going to make absolute bank from this, because obviously, so many people buying it every month, and then everyone playing it. And this is all, the fact it's only on PS5 and Series X. I mean, I think that's two things. One, because I think they obviously want to focus more development and give away the things that are only in the next gen versions. But also, I think there's an element of trying to encourage people to get the next gen versions. They may be happy to play GTA 5 on their PS4 and Xbox One, but actually, if you want this cool exclusive stuff as part of the GTA Plus subscription, then really you should probably buy the new version. So that's another way to encourage people to upgrade as well.
I wonder what. I mean, obviously the new version's not been out that long, but I'd like to know what the split is between current and previous gen players on this, because there's probably still a massively significant number of people still playing the previous gen versions, right?
Oh yeah, hugely so.
And obviously, stock issues still being what they are. Is it a bit shit to be like, come upgrade to the new one? Oh, but you can't actually get the console to play it on. I don't know.
It's still. I mean, this isn't going to impact on any like events or anything that they're hosting, though. That's still going ahead,
right?
You don't have to have a subscription for that. This purely seems to be just for stuff, that you can get and download or whatever. Yeah,
fair enough, I guess. As I say, having played quite a bit of GTA Online, I do feel like earning money takes way too long, but also the stuff you're doing along the way is just sort of inherently fun. Like I can now sort of take like a Sea of Thieves mentality to it. Where I'm just like, the rewards are sort of fun occasionally, but also just arsing around with friends is the main reward. So yeah.
Do you know, it's weird. I've never played GTA Online.
Have you not?
I started it up once, and it got to the character creator thing, and I didn't really go much further than that because I was like, this feels just complicated. Not complicated, but it's just this feels involved. To get
weird.
through all this.
Obviously we're talking about GTA Online now as if it's new, but it does still feel odd because obviously GTA's whole thing is good stories and characters, and you kind of sort of switching to GTA Online, you sort of think, well, my character's not really going to be significant, right? I'm just going to make an avatar. They're not going to have any dialogue. It's just going to be people talking at them and around them, and obviously, and then when you're in the world, there's other people in it fucking it up. So. Yeah, it's definitely a different feel, but it's totally its own valid thing and an amazing way to use that city and all the things that go on in it. It's well worth a look.
How does it work though? Do you so I create a character, I get into it and then wander around. Do I then just get shot at constantly by people?
Not constantly. I mean, it can happen. There's this one vehicle that's like a fucking flying motorbike that people just whiz around and shoot rockets at you. But that doesn't happen a lot.
When I last played it, I would go into a game, I'll either get shot instantly, or I would be playing a game for 10 seconds, and they'd be like, a bounty's on your head. And then everyone on the map, it seems, would be chasing, trying to kill me to get the bounty. But I think maybe it's changed.
I thought you could only place a bounty on someone if they were on a murder spree.
I mean, I may have been on a murder spree.
Well, you want a murder spree.
Well.
Maybe that's
I may have been on one.
But generally speaking, anyone on the map can find you, but there's certain activities you do. So if if you do a mission where you're transporting contraband or whatever, the sort of the difficulty variable is that you'll be flagged up to everyone else on the map. So you might be wandering around and it'll come up saying this crew is trying to transport stuff. If you want to hunt them down, here they are. Which is kind of fun, but as I say, then it sort of depends on whether or not other people in the game have just bought more stuff than you. So it is a bit messy, but then the heist stuff is incredible, and most of that, I'm pretty sure most of that is private, right? You essentially do that in your own city with you and
I've done a couple of them, and they are fantastic.
They're so good.
How many players is that? How many people can you get together to do a heist or something?
The heists are I think they're all 4 players, apart from the very first one, which is basically a tutorial. So yeah. God, that'd be a streaming series.
That's exactly what I was just thinking. Yeah. Just why have we not tried this at some point?
Well, I mean, there's no cross-play for starters, so you'd all have to play on Xbox if that's all right. But you'd have to pay for it. So
that'd be all right with me. I think we may have tried at one point. I mean, when we may have looked at doing it, it was when they were first come out and GTA Online was a bit of a mess. I mean, I'm dying to hear more about GTA Online, Sean, and you'll talk more about what you've been playing. But because when I first played it, it was just a bit of a nightmare. But I hear they've changed things, so I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that in a bit.
I mean Sean, are you even tempted by this?
I don't think I play it enough to justify it. I was saying, I don't think I mentioned it on the show, but I was saying on WhatsApp, the new Destiny 2 stuff, as good as it is, I've just not had time to put into it, and I probably shouldn't have paid the money, to be honest. But that's just me and, the time I have. If you already play GTA Online, this is probably a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, especially for, only £6. And if it does give you some cool stuff to play around with.
Exactly. All right, what's next, James?
Okay, so next we've got Nintendo are shutting down Dragalia Lost.
Oh, you're kidding.
Well, no,
not that one.
What?
Do you remember this? Because this came out, this was September 2018.
I do remember this, yeah.
Was this the one where it had a staggered launch, wasn't it? It was only a few territories and...
Yeah. I think that's where they fucked it, but let's hear the story.
Yeah,
but it was this is the first original mobile IP that Nintendo did, and they did it with Cygames, and it's apparently it's ending in July this year, and the last update's coming in March this year. But it did, initially it did really well because it was the highest consumer spend per download after launch when it came out, which did very well. But then it was eventually surpassed by Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which is just keeps making money over over and over and over again, despite not being that great. But then this still made 106 million, so it did pretty well for them, I think. And,
about 106 million more than I've made in my life, so fair dues.
Yeah, I was interested in this because obviously I had hammered Fire Emblem Heroes, and then it's a new one, it's original. I'm like, okay, I'm interested in this, but the fact it was it came out in the US for months before any kind of UK European launch, and people were this is how you get around it, and that just kind of killed any buzz. And by the time it did come out, I'd already moved on to actually trying to stop playing games on my phone. So that killed it for me. But I do know I went into subreddits at the time, seeing what the vibe was, and obviously everyone was extremely excited about a new game, and they seemed as hyped as they were for Fire Emblem Heroes. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like a massive surprise. I mean, didn't Nintendo kill? What was it? Did they do a Dr. Mario mobile game? Or did I imagine?
Dr. Mario they killed, and but the others are still. There was also. Do you remember that first one they did? What was it called? I've forgotten the name.
I genuinely don't.
It was that. No, it was that one with all the quizzes and stuff.
Oh fuck! That was
on the Me.
Yeah, shit. What was that?
Oh,
that
was it Miitomo?
Miitomo, yeah.
I mean, for a good half an hour, that was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
You could tell everyone your favourite meal was fish and chips, and they could visit your place, and then that was basically it.
Yeah. And did you remember we were all like, it's a bit light on features, but it's clearly like a platform for more stuff going forward. That Incorrect.
See, that's the thing, really, with Nintendo stuff, just in general, isn't it? It's just like, no, what you see is what you get.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
This is not going any further than this.
But it feels like they're stepping back from mobile. I mean, you could argue they stepped back from mobile the day they released the Nintendo Switch Online app. But they've obviously Dr. Mario killed, this killed. Obviously, Fire Emblem Heroes doing incredibly well. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp doing incredibly well.
There's also, Mario Kart is still doing
Mario
brilliantly
Kart
as well.
Doing well.
Yeah.
It feels like they don't need to keep releasing games.
Is this just them being very honest about, like, look, this is our first, our first sort of like bunch of mobile games. We are seeing what works and what doesn't, and the ones that don't, like, that's it. There's no attempt to salvage them. It's just cutting their losses. And I mean, I guess it's a shame. I mean, I don't know anyone who played Dragalia Lost, but maybe it was actually quite good. And if so, that is a loss. But
it's strange though, isn't it? Because there was this whole thing about how they were going to expand into mobile and everything. We had like Mario Run as well, and we never got like a Zelda game or anything like that. We never got any of these sorts of things, and it's a bit. I don't know. I think maybe just because the Switch has done so well, they just think, what's the point?
Yeah,
although
perhaps the mobile stuff was them just hedging their bets in case the Switch didn't do as well as it did. But it's.
But also, I mean, with games like Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem Heroes making hundreds of millions, or billions at this point, I'm not sure. Like, they don't need to keep throwing more energy into games that may or may not work. Like, so it makes sense to pare down. And the Switch is doing incredibly well. The games they release have largely done well. I mean, the Mario one, I think they said, or someone said, it's like actually a disappointment. And I think they probably learned that the £9 entry fee wasn't a good look, and that didn't really work for that particular game. But it makes sense to them kind of step back a bit. They've got some huge successes on their hands, and
maybe they're just thinking they just milk these for as long as they are, and then they can release something else later.
Exactly.
If they release like a Zelda game, that will just cannibalize other ones, won't it? I guess. Yeah. So it's just.
I wonder if they've also perhaps lost faith in the idea of these being, gateways to. So like if you're like younger and maybe you don't have a Switch, but you do have access to like your mum or dad's phone or whatever. And they're like, fucking this Mario game's free, have a go on that, I suppose. Because, this is a thing with, like, Call of Duty Mobile, right? Where they see that as a gateway, essentially. Like, younger players can get hold of it, even though they're possibly not supposed to. Or at least it's on a relatively more accessible or more common format. And then you play a bit of that, and then later on you find out, oh, shit, there's, like, this proper big console version of it. So it's essentially like a marketing thing as well. But maybe that just hasn't panned out, or maybe they just realised they don't need to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, and also like since then they've released a cheaper Switch, so that also even less reason.
Yeah.
It will be interesting to see what their next big mobile game is, even if there is one, or when it happens. Because I think you're right. They just focus on these ones that make money, and then when these start to make a downturn, then they can maybe investigate and see what happens next. But I think they're also experimenting with like things like Tetris 99, and so they're experimenting with smaller kind of aspects of their games on the console. Yeah. And they've got his big hitters here, so they don't need anything that's not pulling its weight, I guess. Which is mad to say. It made like it's made 100 million since launch, and that's not pulling its weight. But I get it.
Wild.
Well, I mean, it's been a big week for Nintendo because like the next story, like version 14 of the Switch, like firmware or whatever, has come out as well, and
that absolutely massive.
A massive update. I mean, they've added folders.
Oh my god!
I mean, have they?
Yeah.
What's the caveat? Go on.
Well, the caveat is that you can only use them in the all games section of the UI. So, like on your home screen where you can like scroll across, can't use them there. Obviously, that would be too obvious.
That's really want them.
That's ridiculous. I was like, brilliant, amazing. The whole, I think they're called groups. Like amazing, perfect. I'll have like indie group and Nintendo group or Mario group or whatever, and then the fact is you got to like scroll to the end, then select groups. Like this isn't quicker at all.
It's mad, isn't it? Because if you think about it, like the 3DS had a better interface for this stuff than the Switch does. Like with that, you could do folders and stuff. You could choose how big you wanted the grid to be for like how many games it was going to display on the screen.
You had themes.
There was all sorts of stuff. And themes, yes. Why are there no themes still on this console?
It's got 2 themes. What are you complaining about? Black or white? What else do you need?
2 entire themes. I don't know. It's weird because when the Switch first came out, like obviously, the UI is pretty sparse.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, yeah, but do you know what? It's like it's quick as fuck, right? Like it's streamlined. It's not empty. It's just, does the job, right? But in hindsight, it's like, well, it's not like you open up a 3DS and be like, oh man, this takes so long to load because of my Sega Dreamcast theme I've installed. Do you know what I mean? It's not really a thing. It's not.
Do you remember when the Wii U first came out? And I just remember David moaning all the time about how long it took to start up. that it was like it took ages. Like before it was patched, it was like it took ages to.
On release, the Wii U was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like the fact I had to turn the Wi-Fi off on my phone to stop because otherwise it'd interfere with the controller.
Oh my god, really?
Stuff like, there was all sorts of weird shit with the Wii U when it first came out. And obviously it needed every bit of help it could get.
It's bare, and folders would be nice, but I do appreciate the fact that I turn the Switch on and I'm not navigating ads, I'm not navigating 4 menus, it's literally left and right, game, done.
Mm-hmm.
See, I like that. I just wish there was a little bit more customization, like in terms of like with themes would be nice. I just want a different background. Just think it looks nice, It's just I don't know.
Yeah, but it is ridiculous that these groups are not. They can't become part of like, the main menu. I mean, what the hell, Nintendo?
Still, this has also made some other changes as well, primarily to Bluetooth audio. Which, I mean, I don't know if either of you have tried using Bluetooth audio with the Switch.
I haven't, actually.
I have, yeah. I've paired my AirPods and I've used it a couple of times.
Because they've changed it so that they've increased the default volume level, and you can also change volume as well. Like if you're using like a headset that has like a volume control on it, that will work as well now, like for turning up and down and stuff. But I was really pleased about this because I always just found it ridiculously quiet like all the time, and now it's significantly better. It sounds normal, which is good.
Cool.
So that's good. Next story is that, so Polyphony have responded to the criticism about GT7. And
is this about it not working for several days and stuff? And
Yeah. Well, that and also the game's economy and that stuff. So Yamuchi came out and he said, I would like to apologise for the frustration and confusion caused last week with our patch updates, which resulted in not only a server outage but also adjustments to the in-game economy, which were made without a clear explanation to our community. We know that this is not the Gran Turismo experience you expect. And so they did that, and then what they've said that more changes are coming in April. There's going to be the ability to sell cars, and also they've given everybody 1 million in-game credits as well, for that. And,
is that a lot? I know that's a stupid question.
Not really.
Okay,
it's not really a lot. It's enough to like upgrade a car or whatever, but it's
right.
It's not enough to
buy
buy something.
I think when the new changes,
really
you can buy a tyre with that.
Cool.
Yeah, basically.
Just the one.
It's okay. I mean, but it's not. You can't get anywhere near like the big cars. But
it's not like you're like, nice I can buy 10 cars and fucking yeah.
It's mad. Like one of the arguments that people said was just like they wanted the cars to be expensive, like in real life. So it feels like real life. It's like that's why I'm playing a game.
Yeah,
right? I don't want to. Please don't exclude me for being like super rich. From a game.
I don't want to save up 10 years to buy the Ferrari in my dreams, and then it gets nerfed, just like real life.
But they also said that one of the reasons for the patch like causing all these troubles was that initially the payouts that you got from those like it has like not gacha machines, but it has like the random thing. Matt, can you remember what it's called?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but when it kind of spins round and you might win some money or a car or.
And they said that the payouts on that were not consistent, but then that the patch for that went too far. But I don't know whether I believe that. I think that's a load of rubbish. But then also, as a result of this, I mean, Sony's like, okay, so GT7 is now the lowest rated game ever by audience score, like Sony game, like on Metacritic and stuff.
Yeah, it got review bombs, didn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, it's good that they're hopefully fixing things, but this stuff, I mean, it sounds like they got caught to me. In this was all the plan, and the backlash has been greater than they expected it was going to be, and now they're having to roll things back a bit.
Yeah, to make such substantial changes like 3 weeks after launch, it's just a bit. Come on, like all the reviews are out there. Isn't this game great? Blah blah blah. It's not that bad to actually like earn a car, and then suddenly 3 weeks later, bang! Actually, no. Now it takes forever, and it's a piss take, really.
I mean, that is the worst thing, isn't it? Just like waiting for reviews to come out and then just being like, now we switch on the microtransactions. It's just like...
That's just it, yeah. It's just such a strange thing to do, to just be like, brilliant, everyone loves the game, let's make it worse.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah, it's totally backfired. You're totally right, James. That they're basically being caught, and like all the good work, all the positive reviews. I mean, if you're very online and you know this stuff, I mean, maybe for the average person on the street or goes on Amazon, oh yeah, brilliant, Gran Turismo game, fantastic. But if you're into this and you know like gaming and you see this, it just kind of puts you off wanting to get involved, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Strange. But some better news, which is that PS5 is getting variable. Okay, let's try again. It's getting variable refresh rate support in the next update.
Whoa.
So apparently this is coming soon. So, Matt, can you explain why this is really good? Because, I don't really understand fully.
Xbox has variable refresh rate, and I think this is a big reason why a bunch of recent multi-platform games, people have said that they tend to work better on Xbox. It's because it's got VRR, and what that means, I mean, I don't know exactly what it means, but when games like change their frame rate and whatnot, VRR kind of adjusts to avoid screen tearing. That, games have screen tearing and whatnot, whereas with VRR on Xbox and, I guess maybe PC, I don't know, it avoids that, and so frame rates are more stable, but if they do change, it's not a noticeable change. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not Digital Foundry.
I think it's because if you've got... Because most displays are 60 hertz, so they refresh 60 times a second. So if a game runs at a constant 60 FPS, then that's fine. But if it drops to 59, you've then mathematically you then haven't got a full 60 frames.
Yeah, it needs to
for
catch
that
up
second.
somewhere, and that's often with like a judder or tearing or just feeling a bit weird. So I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that this isn't already on PlayStation. I mean, the console's over a year old, and obviously a lot of the TVs that had, say, 120 hertz refresh rates, they're obviously over a year or so old. So they've taken their sweet time to implement it, and it's still out now. I mean, did they say? Okay, no, they have said it will be the next one. It wasn't like...
Yeah, they said it's coming soon, and that also it's going to support like all games, like even ones that don't officially support it, like in the code or whatever.
Oh, right, okay.
But then also you can disable it if you're getting like unexpected visual effects.
Right.
And that's when. So yeah, I'd imagine it's probably coming next couple of months. It'll probably appear.
No, this is good. It's just been ridiculous. It hasn't been here up to now, but it's good that they can finally do that, and it will make games just feel nicer and better overall.
Because it was Digital Foundry who was saying like, this could make a big difference for like Elden Ring, for example. That would it would really improve that in a big way.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah,
cool.
Okay, next story is that EA. Okay, it apparently is going to be called EA Sports Football Club, and this is according to Jeff Grubb, who now says it's a done deal that this is happening. And this is what he said. He said, "I saw trademarks for it. I thought that it could just be a feature like an online mode, but I asked around, and that's it. That's the name."
He's asked around. He's asked around, guys.
Yeah,
confirmed.
I'd love to know he's asked around. Just in the street. Anyone? Is this? Yeah, this is. Yeah, it's cool.
I'm sure he's reached out, to lots of people.
People we know.
Yeah.
It's not an elegant name, is it?
I mean,
I feel like it. I feel calling it.
Jeff
I feel
Grubb.
like if you removed,
that's hard.
No, Jeff Grubb's fine. It's straight to the point. 2 syllables, bang bang, done.
Absolute grub of a man.
Jeffrey Grubb, not quite as cool, is it? See why he sticks with Jeff. No, if they took the sports out, right, and they were just like, it's EAFC.
Yeah,
I feel like I could. I mean, not that it affects me because I don't play the games, but I feel like that would be easier to deal with than are you getting the new EA Sports Football Club 2022?
Yeah. Just call it.
I don't know. It's just
EA
a bit
football.
Clumsy.
Why can't it just be EA Football?
Or that would also work.
Although maybe that's too similar to eFootball from PES. But
Yeah.
you're adding an extra letter.
You don't want people getting confused. I suppose if it was just EA Football, is that going to confuse Americans? I feel like calling it Football Club, like the inclusion of club sort of specifies soccer as opposed to American football. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they call them clubs in America.
That's a question, though. Do you reckon in America they'll just call this EA Sports Soccer Club instead?
Maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if there were different names for different regions. But yeah, I mean, I think you're totally right. I mean, EAFC works. It kind of rolls off tongue more. I mean, maybe this is what they'll call it, but everyone will just call it FIFA.
We'll just call it AFC or FIFA, yeah.
Or EAFC.
Unless FIFA becomes its own thing, right? Because haven't FIFA themselves threatened that. That's been, so...
You know that it's going to end up as like a bad mobile game or something like that instead. And it's not going to be good.
I wonder if FIFA will get on board to make their game. That would be interesting.
I'll do it. They haven't asked yet, but probably just shy. I'll do it, guys. Don't worry.
Okay,
imagine if it was Konami.
Oh my! Well, they've got eFootball. Why they're not gonna?
Just rebadge eFootball. It's already. It's already out. It's already perfect. Why wouldn't you just buy that?
I mean, I don't think eFootball's really made a big splash, Matt. I beg
to differ. They could get the people behind Actua Soccer to come back.
Yeah. Who did Actua Soccer? I can't remember.
I just looked up Gremlin Interactive.
Blimey.
Yeah.
What a name. EA Sports Football Club. I mean, it's going to be fascinating when that thing gets announced. Because it's obviously going to do incredibly well. Because although you think of FIFA and you think of the game, you think of, you think of the organisation FIFA and you think of the game, everyone's going to know, okay, this is the new one from EA Sports, and it'll be fine. But there'll be a very small transition period, but generally people will just go into a new name and forget about it very quickly, I reckon. But it's gonna be fascinating to see what it's actually called and what changes they make because they're not beholden to the license holder.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because they kept on saying, didn't they?
Go on, sorry.
They kept on saying that there was things they couldn't do because of FIFA.
Right. FIFA,
and I'm just imagining what they could be, like Battle Royale, like all sorts of stuff. Like what's the
guns? Yeah. But surely the other side of that coin is losing the license. Is that that's going to mean no more proper team and player names and stuff, right? Unless they they continue to pay a daft fee to.
No, that's completely separate. No, they play that. They pay because that was the thing with this. Like paying FIFA gets them very little apart from the name FIFA, all the licensing in terms of the kits and the players and the stadiums, all that kind of stuff. That's all done separately,
right?
So it won't affect that, I don't think.
So we're not going to have West London Blue,
Manchester Red.
No, that's not going to happen. But I just love the idea of Konami picking this up.
Yeah, Konami picking up because they're like, they're internally like, we want to get back into the football game. They're like, we've got eFootball. Oh my God, I forgot about that. Sorry, yes. Yeah, no, you're right, we do have a game. I thought we haven't made pairs. What are we doing? No, that turns out there is a department downstairs in the basement that is making eFootball.
We've already done one. Shit, okay, right.
Yeah, that's still happening? Okay, cool.
Little project.
Sure about that.
What's next?
Okay, last one is that Sony are apparently going to unveil their Game Pass style, Spartacus PlayStation Plus thing as early as next week. Now, this was last week. This is what Jeff Schreier,
now next week.
Jeff Schreier, Jason Schreier said. And almost certainly by the time you're listening to this, it's already happened.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 10 minutes after we recorded.
Yeah, we always joke about this, about hey, we record a show and something breaks, but obviously we record on Mondays. Monday, at this point, this is kind of like Monday morning in the US. And so a lot of news breaks around then. So at most times we may joke about it, but I'll be so surprised if this hasn't already broken by the time Wednesday comes. So hello Wednesday, hello everyone. This is the news.
I'm still following Twitter as we're recording this, just waiting for the for it to break, when it happens. But so I mean, Jason Schreier said that this looks like it's definitely going to happen, and he said there's going to be a splashy lineup of hit games that are going to come with it.
Whoa!
Which I mean that's intriguing because I mean they've already done. I don't know what they can throw at this, honestly.
Well, I'll tell you what.
What?
Well, also today in the news, this wasn't in the lineup, but the NAC 3... No, I'm serious. The NAC 3 trademark has been registered today. What if that goes straight there day one on Spartacus?
I mean, do you know what, Matt? I could actually see them doing that.
Yeah,
and it would be very funny if they did that. I can see that happening.
Bang, out day because they want a day one. Although that would probably set a precedent that they don't want if they're not going to be releasing first-party titles on Spartacus, so maybe that's a mixed messaging. If they're like, yeah, we're not doing that, but here's NAC, it might confuse matters. But also, imagine that, NAC 3, bang, straight in on Spartacus.
I will subscribe to the highest tier for that. It's
if NAC 3 comes out, I probably would, yeah. But I know you all took the piss out of me last time when I said about, well, hang on, doesn't this make the price of the PlayStation Plus tier suddenly like 5 times the price? And you're like, well, actually, if no one pays the full amount, I'm still wondering about that. If it starts at the rumored $10 a month for Essential, and that is basically PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
but that is what PlayStation Plus costs now. It's the same.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in shops. So, like, are you saying that a potentially like a 12 months of Essential in like Shop 2 would be just $40 instead of what this looks like $120?
I've no idea.
Shop 2 is sometimes cheaper, but there's no way it will be that much cheaper.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see how they can release something which is essentially the same and then like triple the price or whatever. I just can't see how they can do that. Like, I mean, well, actually, I can see them doing that because this is Sony and they do.
According to these rumours, that's exactly what they're doing.
I'd be mad. It'd be absolutely mad if you like go from like a 50 quid yearly subscription to them saying, okay, this is the same thing, but you're having to pay like, I don't know, what would it be? It'd be like 120 pounds a year. That's not. I can't see them doing that. The backlash should be massive.
Yeah, 120.
That does seem pretty wild.
I'll tell you what they're going to do. Right, here's what I think they're going to do. Obviously, we've had loads of years of the whole £1 for Game Pass, and hey, here's the trick. The trick is you bang on up 3 years of Xbox Live Gold, do the deal. Suddenly, your $1 deal has now upgraded all of your 3 years of Xbox Live Gold to Game Pass Ultimate. I reckon what they'll do is. I mean, it looks basically like Essential is PlayStation Plus, and it's now suddenly way more expensive. They'll say, "Hey, if you got PlayStation Plus, a sub up to a certain date, we will convert that to Essential or whatever." I reckon they might do something like that. So, although that still doesn't really make sense, that could allow people to do is, okay, I will buy some years of PlayStation Plus for the current price, and it will get updated or upgraded to the new price, but.
You see, they've really got to be careful with this, I think, because people are absolutely going to compare this to Game Pass, and if it's ridiculously more expensive, then they're just going to get laughed at.
But then, every other move Sony have made for years now is very clearly like they're on top and they're all right with that, and they don't feel like they have to compete necessarily. So is this them finally going like, oh, actually, shit, we need a competitor for Game Pass? Or is it just them trying to do their own thing with it? Do you know what I mean? Like, is this them actually feeling a little bit cornered? Or is it just them doing it because they think it's a good idea for their own reasons?
I think it's that. I think that they feel cornered by this. And for that reason, I can't see them bringing out something which is disastrously expensive, which is then people are just going to be like, well, why, this is nowhere near comparable to like Game Pass if you're charging this.
It's weird. I mean, like all the talk is that every single week or every day it's like Game Pass, and there's never any talk about PlayStation Now and stuff. So you think, they need a competitor, but they don't really. I mean, Microsoft obviously make a lot of money, I think Microsoft and PlayStation have made a lot of money with the subscriptions and services. That's what I think most tech companies want to do. They want to move people to services because ultimately people just pay a monthly fee and build up revenues that way. But also, PlayStation are making so much money with like the games they release. The consoles are flying off the shelves. Like seemingly way more consoles are sold PlayStation side versus Xbox. I don't know. They don't need to, and they will still make a lot of money from this. They don't have to suddenly worry about, well, no, are we doing day one on Spartacus? They don't, and they won't, because they don't need to, really.
I mean, that's what's been always is really interesting about all this is like the within our bubble that we are everyone ever goes on about all the time is Game Pass. It's constantly the thing that people are always going on about. How brilliant it is, which it is. How great it is. But then, like Matt said, it's like actually people are still buying PlayStations as well, like in large numbers, and it doesn't seem to. I don't know how much. This is why I always wonder how much of like Game Pass has like cut through, as it were, to like the general public or whatever, and which is why like if they're looking at like 20-30 million subscribers, which is really good, the idea that obviously they're going to want significantly more than that, like over the long term, whether that's possible or not, and whether like a service like that is going to cut through to that, to like 60, 70 million people or whatever, I'm still really skeptical about that, whether they've already reached a peak or not. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they're anywhere near a peak. I mean, whether they cut through, I don't know. But if again, rumors of them releasing a bit of hardware, maybe that they push the marketing in a different way. If they're like, hey, if you want to play Xbox games, you don't need an Xbox anymore. You just buy this new thing. Here are Xbox games in the cloud or on Game Pass, whatever. So I don't think they've reached anywhere near the ceiling and that sort of stuff at all. I think we're just waiting for the technology or 5G or whatever to improve to the point where they can properly push it in front of everyone, rather than it being kind of a early adopter or like core gamer thing to do as like an added bonus. I don't think they're kind of near where we need to be in terms of 5G technology and that kind of stuff for them to properly push it in front of everyone. But no, it's gonna be fascinating to see what Sony do, because they don't need to really do anything. But
I think in terms of buzz, they do, and in terms of the fact that I do think that they feel cornered by this to a degree. Like, not in terms of like money or anything like that, but in terms of just the conversation with this and the fact that everyone just goes on about it all the time. And if they're doing this in reaction to that, which I think they are, then they can't afford to come out with something which is dreadful or like ridiculously expensive, because it will just be terrible for them.
No. I find it funny, you see a lot of people saying, like a lot of articles or commentators saying, oh, this is the rumour for PlayStation's Xbox competitor. And then you see lots of people saying, no, this isn't a competitor, this is Plus and Now. Like, this isn't a competitor. But then everyone's kind of labelling it at that because they see Game Pass and they feel like Game Pass needs a competitor. And this is PlayStation's version, even if actually it's not that at all. So, no, I can't wait to see how they market it or what they say about it. And actually, if I feel like it's even worth me doing, I mean, generally I would subscribe to these sorts of things, but
if you've already got Game Pass in both consoles, then maybe you don't necessarily need both subscriptions as well. I mean, I
would probably only go for the lowest tier one, just because it's playing online and stuff like that. I don't see, because the other thing that I'm really curious about with this is they're saying that the top tier is going to offer like access to like PS1, PS2, PS3 games, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's the interesting bit of this.
And if that is through streaming, though, then immediately I'm thinking that's very disappointing. Yeah. That's that way it's going to be. Because I tried PlayStation Now, it was fine, it worked, but it didn't work well enough that I'd want that to be the way that games like that were delivered.
Yeah, totally.
Yet.
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, like, the rumor was that the extra tier will include, and I quote, a downloadable game catalog. So it certainly appears that the PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 stuff, and maybe PSP, whatever, that will be downloadable. But you also have the opportunity to stream games at that tier as well.
Right. So. Well, I was going to say we'll see. By the time you hear this, we'll probably have seen.
Yes, it will be out.
So. Do you think, sorry, one last thing. Do you think they may expand the cloud streaming as well, though, so that you can actually do it on other devices rather than just the console? That would be brilliant.
That would be good.
I want the same as you got with, like, with Xbox Game Pass in the cloud or whatever it's called nowadays. Where you can, like, I want to be able to play stuff, like on my computer or whatever as well. That would be brilliant if I could do that.
Yeah, that would be good. I don't know how much of it's into my life, but I've used it more than I thought on Xbox, and I feel like I barely used it really, but I've definitely used it more than I thought I would. So yeah, it would be good for them to expand that to more devices and whatnot.
Yeah,
because they did that deal, didn't they, with Microsoft?
That's right. Yeah, they're using Microsoft's cloud architecture or whatever.
Because you can remote play now on different devices. You can remote play on Mac and.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's direct to the console, isn't it? So you still need a console. Whereas, if we're talking about proper cloud stuff, who knows?
But that's it. I mean, as I said, you'll know about it by now, almost certainly. So we were wrong.
Have we been playing? I mean, the two of you have been playing, I guess, the biggest release of the week. Do you guys want to talk about Kirby and the Forgotten Land?
Sure.
How much have you played, Matt?
How much have I played? I have, in terms of hours, I don't know. I'm still in like the second set of levels because I'm playing mostly with Elden. So haven't blitzed through it as much as I would like. How much have you played?
See, I'm in the third set at the moment, And it was funny before. In fact, I was playing it just before. This is why I was late coming on, actually, because I was playing it a bit like just before we
Unbelievable.
we started recording.
Rude.
But it changed my mind actually while I was playing it, which is kind of crazy because, like, generally, I mean, obviously, this is like the first. I don't know if this is the first 3D Kirby because there was all that stuff like Kirby's Air Ride and stuff like that.
It does seem like from what a lot of people are saying this is the first. I don't know anything about Kirby games. I never played one, but it seems like a lot of people are like, hey, now Kirby's now finally properly 3D.
Yeah, Air Ride doesn't count for a number of reasons.
But they've generally been like 2D, like 2D. Sort of platformers. And this
where was Air Ride and why doesn't it count?
So Air Ride was on the GameCube, but it was basically a racing game primarily.
Yeah,
but there were bits where you would get out of your ship. Oh, what's that? Or was it just that you went between different ships? I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, it was 3D, but it was mostly like you were in a craft of some sort and were like flying around.
It's like that Sonic game for the Saturn. Yeah, there were 3D bits.
It's an unfortunate comparison, but yes.
Well, the Sonic Museum, mate, was brilliant. That was like our version of Mario 64.
Yeah, it's just as good. It's just as good as Mario 64.
That's what Sega Power said, and I for one believe him.
Man alive. Gosh, I never played that. I really wish I could. Cause,
didn't you? Amazing. Did you ever play Sonic R? That was...
I did, yeah.
Better than Mario Kart. Okay, so Kirby in the Forgotten Land, James. How much are you enjoying it? And what changed in the last playthrough then?
Well, the thing is this. So we played the demo of this like a couple of weeks ago.
We were all
before it came out.
We were all a bit down on it, weren't we?
Yeah, because it's quite a linear game. Like the structure of it is quite linear, and I was a little bit disappointed. Like from the first world, I felt sort of going through that because the whole game is basically based around sort of trying to find like hidden items and stuff like that, trying to get new abilities and things, that sort of stuff, which is fine, and that's nice enough, and it's a nice environment. But there was just something about it that I just didn't find particularly interesting, I think, because of how linear it was. But then I just hit the third world, and it started to mix things up a bit in terms of the abilities that like the sucking abilities that you can get, like turning into different things. It started to mix those up a bit more, and also, I don't know. I saw on Rollmark somebody said that this feels like Astrobot, and it absolutely does. Like it really does feel like I'm playing like a sort of like the PS5 version of Astrobot. It's really creative, and like the last couple of levels I've played become significantly more interesting, largely because they really try and do sort of different things rather than it being quite so linear. Like there are different paths and there are different like routes around things, but also it's just the atmosphere of it is so wonderful. Like, and that's what I've. Do you know what it really reminds me of? Did any of you play Mickey Mouse's Castle of Illusion?
Yeah.
Oh, on the Mega Drive or Master System.
Yeah. It just has a similar vibe to me. This game, like the music in particular, really has a sort of similar vibe, and it's just brilliant. Like it's so engaging, like to like play through, and it just the music is so good. I really
the music is fantastic. That kind of elevates the experience for me. I think the music is just really. I mean, I've never played a Kirby game previously, so I don't know what they're previously like, but it feels very much like a Mario game in terms of the style of music. I mean, that's probably a really basic thing to say, but yeah, the tunes are really good. Each one for each environment I've been in is really kind of evocative of what you're doing, and like the music's still in my head now. I think the music's fantastic.
And like the last level I just did, which is sort of based in this sort of fairground, the music, it reminded me so much of like Mickey Mouse, and I felt quite emotional playing it because I just thought I feel like I'm like 8 years old again, like playing this, but in the best possible way. Yeah. And and the other thing is I'm liking the challenges of this as well, because like you get through each level. And you're supposed to save like a certain number of like the Waddle Dees, these like other like little creatures. And at the beginning, it's quite easy to get through all of to get all of them in like your first run through. But then it starts to become more complicated, and it starts to be that like discovering where they all are, or fulfilling the criteria becomes more difficult as the game goes on.
Yeah, I've definitely found that.
And I've got to the stage now where it's like I'm definitely not getting them all of them in like my first run through. And then it does this really good thing whereby at the end of the level it brings up your summary, and then it will show some of the ones that you didn't reach, and then give you a hint as to how you're supposed to do it. And the levels are short enough and sort of, I'd say, easy enough that you can go straight back in and just think, okay, I'm going to give that a go now and see if I can make it. But some of the challenges in this are difficult. Like, some of them are really quite hard. Like, I mean, there was one I was trying to do just before I came on, where you have to like race this car and get it like to under 20 seconds, and I can't figure out how to do it at the moment. There must be a shortcut I'm missing, but that's what I'm liking, because I never got that with the 2D games of this, like, at all. Like the 2D, like the last one, was it Kirby Star Allies that came out? There was I felt zero challenge to that at all. I felt like I was just going through the motions. I was playing it. This feels a lot more creative and a lot more like there's been a lot more thought put into how they could expand this and make this like more engaging for people. It's really good.
The challenge is a weird one, because you can get, if you go just from start to end of the level, you can do it probably by running past every enemy. You can put just not even a faintest whiff of you possibly dying. It's very easy. Whereas, like the various kind of challenges within a level definitely add a bit, and that is the fun. I mean, I've been making a point of not going on to the next level until I've completed all the challenges, and that is, as James said, it was like finding all the Waddle Dees, and they may be hit. Well, no, the Waddle Dees and levels are hidden. Some are on like the main path, some you have to go a bit outside the main path, and there's other things like finding alternative routes or taking down posters or just other little quirks you might find in the level, and that's definitely where I found my fun playing this. It's not actually just getting to the end of the level, it's actually cramming all the other stuff in. But even I mean, they're more of a challenge, sure, but they are not the real challenge. I mean, when you said about the car in the 20 seconds, are you talking about them Treasure Road stages, James?
No. This is in the main levels.
Oh, okay, cool.
You get to this in the third area. Like there's like you suck in a car and then you have to like do like racetracks basically, which is brilliant.
Fantastic.
And the way it feels so nice as well. Like to like like skid around corners and stuff like that, and like jump off stuff and all that. And that's the other thing, like the abilities that you get in this. I mean, the general ones for things like the fire and the ice and all that kind of thing, that's exactly the same as in Star Allies. But the sucking up the objects, some of them are genuinely really very interesting to use. And particularly, I mean, there's this one that's just a cylinder, and you have to do good, Have you seen? You haven't got yet to the. There's another bit though where you have to do like a challenge with that, and it's like you have to like go down this, like you have to like go down a slope, and you have to like hit like the blocks so that then the ones appear in front of you, and you have to be really on it, and it's great.
Yeah, so those are when you see like a certain object in the environment. That isn't just like the standard. Okay, I suck up like a sword wielding enemy, and then you have a sword or someone that's firing fireballs, and you have fireballs. These are like when you go into mouthful mode, where you might see a vending machine or like this like circular device, or the car as we've seen in the trailers and stuff. And I think they're good. I mean, I feel like I'm already kind of. I mean, bored is probably a harsh way of putting it.
You haven't got to the good ones yet, Matt.
No, I mean, I've done the car a bunch of times. I've done done like the fan thing. I've done like the vending machine, and it's cool. When it's like the first time, I was like, okay, this is interesting to see what I can do with this new ability. How can I use it in level? What's it going to make me do? And I get obviously that there's more in the next like in the levels moving forward, so that's cool. But yeah, it was funny the first time, but I'm not. It's not blowing my world now, but
Matt, you haven't done the one with the you haven't got done the one with the water like balloon yet, have you?
No, I did the one we on the boat with that fan.
Nah,
which
was
really
the water balloon is brilliant. Like it just sucks up all this water, and then he's just this massive like water balloon, basically like waddling around, and it's just like spitting water at everything, and it's great. It's really good.
I'm very encouraged by this because like as we were saying, like with the demo, I was enjoying playing it with Isaac, but that was it. Like there was no incentive for me to play it on my own, really. As you say, just the complete absence of challenge in those demo levels was like, right, okay. But like I knew I knew I was getting it eventually anyway. I'm waiting for Patreon payday, patreon.com/TCGS. But purely as a like, oh well, this will be nice to play with Isaac. Like it's been really nice because it's one of the first games where like he can just do it on his own, and needs very little assistance. So then like I do think the 2-player stuff is a bit disappointing in that player 2 is just a Waddle Dee with a spear. It's not two Kirbys, but it's sort of fine because it's really fun just like watching Isaac do all the puzzle stuff. And he sometimes freaks out. You know, there's like massive bulls that come at you and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of enemies that freak him out. So I'll just step up and be like, right, no worries, here you go, jab him with a spear, and then that's that. And equally, like if he's sort of playing it, because the camera just focuses on Kirby the entire time. So if I need to just check my phone or something, he doesn't actually notice that I've put the controller down for 10, 20 seconds.
Well, the camera thing is probably like the thing I'm most disappointed. So I played most of this in co-op, and Elodie's absolutely loving it. It's been great to play with her. But obviously disappointing that the second player only has a spear. The spear, you can do a bunch of moves with it, but no abilities like all the things we mentioned previously. But the camera's kind of the worst bit because it could basically, Elodie's all like, I want to get that first, or I want to go a ladder first, or do this first, but basically, it feels like the distance is so short that you can move very, very short distance, and suddenly, in this case, Elodie's kind of transported to me rather than, okay, you got the ladder first. No, you can't even go up the ladder sometimes because it transports her back to me. So I wish they would change that a little bit because that's just a bit too restrictive. But I get why the camera's focused on Kirby, but it just means you can't really have another player running off at all, like barely at all, because
you want to let her be Kirby. That's what you want to do.
I mean, I feel like I will do because it's just she was getting bored and she wanted all the abilities.
It's just one of those things, isn't it? It's like this problem has been solved a lot of times. Like, just let the camera pan out a bit, and like, okay, like maybe there has to be one player that it does ultimately focus on if you both run off in different directions, but like just let it pan out a bit.
The levels aren't massive. They could do it so the camera goes a bit wider. And I get the ability stuff. You know, it's maybe only have one player doing that. I get that, but. Yeah, the camera's kind of the most egregious part of that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what did this really well was Knack.
It's a great game.
All right, okay.
It's a great game.
How did it do that? It was really good. Well, it I don't know how, but it kept both on the screen really effectively. Like, I think mostly by like zooming out the camera and stuff like that, but it worked very well.
The one I miss because this was in the Lego series for a long time and then they stopped doing it, was that as you, like, you know, if you've got two players both on screen at the same time, if you then run away from each other, it then brings the split screen in. It's like a dynamic split.
That's great.
You know, so if you both, like, if you know you're both on the screen, one of you runs left and one runs right, then it splits it down the middle vertically. But then if you're top and bottom and one runs towards the camera and one runs away, it splits it horizontally and it like moves around and then sort of seamlessly brings you back together once you rejoin. And it's amazing. Like, and I'm not saying it was easy to do, but do you know what I mean? When you're just like, well, look, someone did this like 6-7 years
really
ago.
Clever.
It's the problem's been solved. Like, just do that. But yeah.
But yeah, speaking of co-op, I've been so impressed with Elodie. I mean, like, she doesn't play a lot of games. She's done loads of Animal Crossing and things like Minecraft or 2 Point Hospital or The Sims, but not really kind of combat focused. I mean, she did like a bit of Bowser's Fury as part of 3D World, but is it 3D Land, 3D World? It's one of them.
3D World.
But she hasn't really done a lot of combat stuff. But she got to the first boss of this, and I was like, okay, I might have to like kind of step in and help her. But no, I was blown. She did a whole thing like first time on her own, and you know, for someone who doesn't really do this, you know, the boss required some strategy. It required like kind of taking her time, hitting the boss at the right moment, kind of dodging backwards at the right time. I was like, oh, it was such an amazing moment. I mean, obviously, all of our kids like play games, and I'm sure yours like play more or have done much more, but for someone like Elodie who hasn't really done an awful lot of this kind of combat focused stuff, at least, I was so proud. Like, she did the whole thing first time and like high five, and it was just amazing. So yeah, amazing moment. But yeah, we played most of the time in co-op, and she's really, really enjoying it. Even you can say like the gameplay is simplistic, but it's a perfect kind of level for her, and it's been really great playing together.
Because I like the idea of. Sorry, James. I like the idea of like playing it through with Isaac and just getting through the levels, and then when he's not around, like me going back and doing like all the objectives and stuff.
That's exactly what I'm doing, Sean. Yeah, when she's in bed, I'll then make sure 100% it and make sure I do all the bits and collect everything we've missed up to that point, and then we'll play a new level together. And at night time I'll do all the collecting. No, so that's exactly how I'm playing at the moment.
Sorry, James, go on.
But I was going to say the main thing I like. that I would get across with this is like, don't write this off until you got to like the third area or whatever as being like, this is too easy, it's too simple or whatever, because I think it becomes significantly more interesting at that point. And then becomes really great, which is good.
I think the Treasure Road stages are really interesting. So these are like kind of, you have 5 or 6 kind of levels in each hub, but you also have these Treasure Road stages where they're like very small, very short challenge levels where it's a race against the clock. You go get from start level to the end of level. They're often very short, but they're also often they're all about a certain ability, whether that's Malfa mode where you're sucking up like stairs or another ability, or one of the abilities you've already earned like sword or ice or fire. And these are kind of mini puzzles. And whereas in like most Mario games, it feels like you can get to the credits and there's not really a lot of difficulty, but actually that's when, in inverted commas, the real game starts after that, and that's when you have things like the 500 Moon Challenge and other stuff. It feels like this is quite a challenging section from the first moment you start the game. I mean, the first one, I had to play a few times to get under the target time. You don't have to get under the target time, of course, but it's there for an extra challenge. But I was like, hang on, this is like the first one. I think the first or second one, I was like, I'm struggling to get under 40 seconds. And so there's a challenge there from the off if you want to go and focus on these Treasure Road stages as well.
See, I've completely given up on trying to get under those targets, Matt. They're really, really difficult later on. Like, really, really difficult. They're I
did the first few, but there's one with the stairs, and I almost like wanted to throw my Switch through a window. Because I felt like... Yeah, the Malfa mode generally can be a bit tricky sometimes. And whereas if you're doing it against the clock, and I was like moving staircases around, I was like, this stage can just fuck off. I'm not into this at all. But yeah, most of them, I find them really interesting, really challenging. And it is like I'm trying to get under the target time for all of them. But yeah, they're not easy. But that challenge is in there from the first moment. It's not, you have to get to credits or you have to get to the last few. Like the first few of them are difficult. But I really like that.
Cool.
There's also Waddle Dee Town, which is like once you've completed like the first few levels, or maybe the whole first group of levels, Waddle Dee Town opens up, and that's like a hub world with a bunch of buildings, and one building is where you go to upgrade your weapons and abilities. And the more kind of Waddle Dees you save in the game, say when you say 50 or 60 or greater numbers than that, new buildings open up, and there could be, there's like a restaurant with like a mini game in there. There's like a place to watch like cinematics from the game. There's a place to enter codes for items you may have seen online. I haven't seen a code online, but so this like little town builds up gradually the more Waddle Dees you save, and it's quite a cool little area. What do you think of that, James?
Yeah, especially, I mean, the codes are quite interesting because if you completed the demo, they give you a code at the end of the demo that you can then like type in there. And I mean, the one I just got, it was called like Clear Demo, I think it was, and then you just get 300 coins.
Cool. I'm going to add that myself later.
You can add all of them. There's loads. I mean, if you look online, there are more.
Yeah, because when I got something, it's like, hey, so add any you may have seen online. Like, I haven't seen a single one of these online, but yeah,
get on the forums, mate.
Also, there's like these capsules in the world where it's like little like models, like the capsules you'll see in a toy shop or a supermarket where you go there, you put 50p or £1, you turn the little crank, a little thing comes out in a capsule with like some models in. Those are also in the game, and there's hundreds to collect. And those are dotted around the various levels, but there's also one of the machines in Waddle Dee Town where you can spend the currency you're earning playing the game just to keep basically trying to unlock new. And I think there's like 250 odd of these.
It's ridiculous, models. Yeah. There's a lot of those. It's just collectibles. You know, they don't have any function apart from just they're nice, you know, to have.
But I was surprised that there was like the whole restaurant mini game. James, have you done much of that?
No, I've not actually touched that yet.
Go on.
So one of the buildings you unlock is a restaurant or cafe, and then just based on the number of Waddle Dees you save, and then there's like a mini game you can play one player or two players. And yeah, basically it's like, it's not overcooked, but it's basically like serving dishes as quick as you can. And that's just like a mini game in Waddle Dee Town.
Amazing.
Just thrown in there. And I think there's going to be lots more. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it, but it feels like there'll be lots more mini games, maybe like secrets in that area. There's like, you can jump on some roofs and I think maybe like find hidden areas. Well, I'm not sure, but I like that. It's like a nice little kind of hub world you go back to, and also, as I said, that's where you upgrade levels and upgrade ability. And when you complete those Treasure Road stages, the prize you get is this currency that enables you to upgrade your weapons and your abilities. So you can do like more fireballs, or I think your sword gets a lot bigger. And the various abilities you get by sucking up certain enemies, you can upgrade them for even more power. And those ability upgrades are massively helpful when it comes to Treasure Road stages. Like there's one where we can provide like it's like a boomerang / frisbee thing, and then one of the upgrades is actually then you can throw two, and that's really helpful in some of the Treasure Road stages where you've got where you have that ability and you've got to hit certain like gems around the level. So yeah, the upgrades seem really crucial if you want to hit those target times on the Treasure Road stages.
Cool. This sounds really good. I'm very happy because, as I said, I having played the demo, I was like, okay, maybe this will just be a thing I play with Isaac, and then he'll get bored of it, and then that'll be that. But no, this sounds legitimately ace.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it more than I kind of thought I would. I was looking forward to it, and also I was disappointed when you two both said about how basic the demo was, and I was like, and the reviews have been fine. Yeah. But although it's simplistic, and I guess I'm only like second level and second area of levels, and that seems from what James is saying is going to change, but it's simplistic, but it's just kind of nice, and there's lots of things to do, and it looks nice, and yeah, performance is decent, music's lovely, and I've had a great fun playing co-op. So no, I'm actually really impressed, even though I may have gone in with quite low expectations. It's obviously not a Mario game. Yeah. It's not that, it hasn't got that kind of charm, but it's got a lot of everything, but it doesn't quite add up to what makes Mario games so special. Yeah. But no, I've been really impressed so far.
Cool. All right. James, you've got one other game.
Yeah, I've got Horizon Forbidden West. The other thing I can't... Did I talk about what's the name? What is it called?
Far Changing Tides.
That's it, Far Changing Tides. Did I talk about that last week? I don't remember.
You did, yeah, I think.
Or was it because I finished that?
Okay.
Did I talk about finishing it? I can't remember.
I think you did, because I think you said you guessed the ending a mile off.
That's right. Yeah.
I was an idiot for not.
And the game was generally disappointing, I thought. But,
I don't think that's what you said, but yeah, okay.
The more I think about it, the more disappointed I feel with that game. Okay. It's,
right.
Yeah.
It's one... Go on, sorry.
No, go on. What you
I was just going to say, it was interesting, hearing that discussion, and you were saying about like the total lack of peril. Yeah, it's just weird, because I think if I'd known that going in, I'd have had a much nicer time, because I just spent the entire time feeling like a bit anxious that like stuff was going to blow up or something was going to go really wrong, and it never did, which was disappointing. But also, if I'd known that was how it was going to play out, then I'd have just taken it all a lot easier and just had a nicer time just sort of absorbing it and not worrying so much. But yeah.
See, I just felt like the puzzles I didn't think were as interesting. I thought I didn't find the puzzles very interesting at all, and it just felt like this was a retread of the first game, but just a bit worse.
Yeah,
than the first game. That was my.
It's like, and like the whole thing with the ending, which again we won't spoil, but obviously we've sort of made it clear it sort of relies on knowledge of the first game. It's like the best bit is the ending, and it makes the first game better, not the second. Do you know what I mean? Like more than it improves the second game. Like it's,
and that's the problem, because I didn't really care about the character by the end, and I was just like, oh yeah, okay, great. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, I didn't enjoy it as much at all as the first game. The first game I thought was amazing. Yeah. I really enjoyed it as an experience, but this one I thought was not just quite the first game, but worse. Yeah. Anyway, the only other thing I played is Horizon Forbidden West, which I've put a lot of time into now. I mean, I think I'm nearly at like 30 hours or something, but I haven't finished it. Like, I've only, Matt, there's like those 3 main quests that you have to do.
Yeah, and that's basically what the game turns into.
See, I've done 2 of those. I've got.
Okay.
Is there just one more then? Is there more after that? After I've done that one?
It's just one more. Yeah.
Okay, that's maybe good, because I've also done loads of side missions as well. Like, I've done everything I possibly could do with that, and also some of the other stuff. And it's just, I mean, the main problem with this game...
You've done every side quest?
Not every side quest in the game, but I've done every one that I've come across. I've
My God,
I've
okay,
done all those as well. I mean, there's been a lot of like toing and froing, going backwards and forwards, and some to begin with, I really did try and sort of listen to all the dialogue and stuff. But then after a while, you do start to think, I'm skipping this because I don't really care like that much about some of these
some
characters.
of the conversations you have in the hub, like they go on forever. But I did make a point of listening to everyone because, as I said previously, I thought it would be like if the more I do this, maybe that character will help me out more because I've garnered more of a relationship with them, but it doesn't really pan out that way. But still, they talk a lot, an awful lot.
But the whole game is too long. Like there's just it's far too long, and also it feels like really overproduced, like in a massive way. It just feels like it ticks far too many boxes, like far too many things that I think they felt that they had to do with this, that it kind of loses sight of what it is and like of itself. And I think that's a shame because if this was a more focused experience, I think it could be a lot more fun. I mean, the combat in it is really good, and I love the whole like laying traps and targeting enemies and all that kind of stuff. And there is a really compelling loop of like the exploration, combat, discovery. It's just that the story doesn't. I don't care, really, is the problem. And it's just not grabbing me, and I just don't care about any of the characters. But there is something that is keeping me coming back, because, I mean, I sat there...
So you don't care about any of the characters, or is it...
No. I don't,
okay.
I'm finding it very difficult to really engage with any of them. Like I just don't find it very interesting. Like I don't find the story that they're trying to tell like terribly interesting either. It's just I love the environment, and I love like getting around, and I love like discovering new machines and stuff like that. That's where I found the enjoyment from this. And it as I said, it has kept me coming back. I mean, I've sat there and played it for like 2 hours or whatever in a row, and just then been like, I want to continue playing this because it is really fun, like the mechanics of this. But I just wish it had a better story.
Do you not even like Katalo?
Which one's that?
Oh, for fuck's sake. He's the guy with one arm.
Oh, yeah, he's all right, I guess.
I love that dude. That was the only one where I will do all your side missions because I want to see how this thing ends. He was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's all right, I guess.
I mean, actually, I like most of the side characters, but he was the only one where I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do your side missions. Definitely 100%.
But it's too wordy though. Like there's too much conversation that is just. It's the same problem I had with the Great Ace Attorney. Actually, like I mean, I'm still playing those games. Like I finished the first one. I'm about halfway through the second one, but it's so verbose. Like there's just so much that's completely needless to like. It's just. I've said this a million times, but I didn't play the first one. Is that different to the first game or? Of what?
I mean, in terms of how much dialogue there is the first one not exactly the same as this?
No, there's nowhere near as much as this. Like, I swear this has got a lot more dialogue, like significantly more. I mean, it must have cost them a fortune to like do all of this, like recording everything and doing the whole thing.
Especially like every side mission, the quality is unbelievable. The quality is of like a main mission, like the motion capture, the dialogue, the animation, the voice acting. It's all like absolutely top level. And not a cheap game at all.
But it feels like I just feel overwhelmed by it still. Like even though I've unlocked most of the map now, you look at the map and it's like worse than Ubisoft level, like in terms of icons. Like it's ridiculous, like the amount of content in this. And I think like if this is your only game that you were going to play for like the entire year, you could probably do that, and that would be fine. But the trouble is you feel like you're missing out on stuff if you don't engage with like particularly like the side missions and stuff. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
It's ridiculous complaining about there being too much, but it is too much.
No, that's valid. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, it feels ridiculous because ultimately there will be people who like this is the only game they can get this year or whatever, and they'll be absolutely thrilled about how much of it there is to do. But yeah, as a relatively time poor player, it just feels like an obligation after a while, doesn't it? Or an imposition even that you just like, yeah.
Yeah, I can see someone putting hundreds of hours into this, hundreds, like almost like Destiny levels of gameplay because there's just so much to do. And if you're into that, that's amazing. I mean, as I said, like the visuals pulled me through. Story didn't do much for me. Characters, apart from a couple, well, even arguably like the side characters were way better than Aloy. But I'm happy I finished it. I wasn't going to like quit. But yeah, it didn't speak to me the way it has spoken to a lot of other people.
But you see, Sony in particular keeps talking about like how expensive these games are to make. How we have to charge this amount of money. They're so expensive, and it's like you can see why when you play something like this. It's insane, like the amount of content and like the quality of everything in this. Why not just make things slightly smaller and maybe it won't cost so much or whatever? It's like I don't understand.
There's a comfortable halfway point between this and Pokemon Legends Arceus, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Yes.
Because with Arceus, you just like, come on. Like, you definitely could have spent more on this and made it look a bit better, run a bit better. Some voices would be nice.
Yeah. But the quality of this isn't... I'm still absolutely blown away by how it looks like in sometimes. It's like...
that never stopped through the entire game. And that's arguably the most impressive thing. At the first I was like, wow, this game looks good. And by the end credits, I'm like, wow, this game looks good. 50 odd hours later.
Yeah, because even the best looking games, you often get sort of fatigued by the end, don't you? You sort of stop seeing it. Whereas, like all I've heard about this is how good it looks from beginning to end. So,
yeah, the characters are easily the best I've ever seen in any game ever. It's just the animation, how they look so, they just look unbelievably good. And wow, where we're going to be in like 5 years time if it looks this good now. It's just mesmerizing seeing those characters, and that's why I did kind of listen to a lot of conversations, because I never kind of got bored of seeing those characters just talking and engaging with each other.
Do you remember when we thought, like, for a little bit, it really seemed like the tech in LA Noire was the future?
Yes.
And that's like, I remember just very briefly just thinking, like, well, how am I going to go back to games that don't use this face capture tech? And now it's just like, never mind. Completely surpassed.
Matt, I was playing this and I was just, the whole time I also keep just thinking, imagine like a first-person shooter or something in this environment. Like how cool that would be, to have something like that with this level of detail. But I don't think they're going to do that.
This is stunning, and it's an open world game. So make it a bit more linear. Last of Us 2 looked amazing. I remember thinking it looked amazing at the time, and I think it probably did. But just look at Horizon. It's another level. It really is. But you are going to finish it, aren't you, James?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know if I'm near the end or not, but this is the thing. I started to feel like I'm coming towards the end of because I've done so many side missions and stuff like that. I've done 2 of those like main, core like quest kind of things, and I started to think, I feel like I'm coming towards at the end of this now. But then maybe not. It just feels like they just keep adding new things.
You are definitely on your way to the end. I still found that every one of those, just one more mission to go, but that's still like an hour because each one kind of takes its time. But no, you're definitely making your way towards the end. You obviously like 100%ing things. Is there any chance of you thinking, I will do every mission in this game now?
Absolutely no chance. I think I'll do as many side quests as I come across. Like, I like doing that, but there's no way I could do this 100%. If you've seen the list of like things on this, like you just go into like the menu and it shows all the things, all the collectibles and all this kind of thing. You're just thinking, this is madness. Like, this is utter madness. Like when you see the amount of content here of like stuff. Yeah. But then also the problem with that is a lot of it is quite repetitive as well. So you're just thinking, I don't think I want to do this, like over and over and over again. It's like, and I'm just somebody who played Pokemon Legends, and I did that over and over. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I need to get that finished. I'm near the end.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, you definitely do. Yeah,
it is good. It just increasingly, as I was getting through, it just felt like a proof of concept for Scarlet and Violet, basically. But we'll see. Right, I have been playing computer games. Elden Ring.
Excellent, you're on the right show.
Elden Ring is ongoing. So I've done... I can't remember where I was up to last time I spoke about it, but I've done Margit, I've done Godric, and now I'm at Raya Lucaria, the Wizard Academy, which is literally like, what if Bloodborne had Hogwarts in it? It's incredible.
Awesome.
It's really good. But obviously that's main quest progress. I've also done like fucking loads of other shit, just exploring the world and finding stuff. I'm finding it really pleasant, and I know that maybe this isn't like the intended experience, but like just like watching like a Vati Vidya thing about like, oh, here's like, where to get this armor set, or here's like some stuff you can do to sort of give yourself a leg up in the early stages of the game and blah, blah, blah. And just kind of following those, but allowing myself to wander off if I see something interesting or cool. And just having so many threads to pick at, so many ways to sort of investigate the world, and just either being guided by, like a set of instructions or my own curiosity, and either is fine,
Yeah, I think that is so important. I mean, I looked at, I'm not thinking it was Vati Vidya, a couple of guys like, how to be like OP or how to be really powerful, and I was like, following that, and it felt like I was on a tour guide, and it was amazing actually. Just I thought I watched this video and saying go here and then do this, and I was like, a lot of people might turn their nose up at that, saying this is how you play this game, you got to do it all blindfolded or whatever. But I thought it was just amazing. Like, it feels like this game is so vast. There's so many places to explore, so many discoveries around every corner. But doing it like just to try and get a certain armor set, as you said, it's a really fantastic, exciting way to play the game, even if it is totally completely alien to a lot of other people who play the games their own way.
Yeah, totally. Like you say, it's just like having a tour guide, and it's not. So even when a lot of the certainly the Vati stuff is very sort of bullet point, like, oh, go to this bit, go here, do this, but it's not. It kind of skips a lot of steps. So if it's like, oh, get to this point on the map, and you're like, right, okay, that'll be like this evening's project. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can just sort of run through with the horse, but there's bits that you can't. Or, as I say, you might just see stuff and be like, oh, actually, what's that? And sort of get distracted, and it's all valid. There's there's rewards for basically everything. It's not like you do a boss or finish a little dungeon or whatever and think like, oh, well, that was a fucking waste of time. You usually get something cool, even if it's, not necessarily something that's like suitable to your character. Like it's all valid and it's all rewarding. I think the only thing, like listening to the discussion about it last week, I think it's mainly Dave saying it, I think, but like, oh, how is Breath of the Wild 2 going to stack up after this?
I think I said that. Yeah,
I think it's going to be fine, because I feel like the only thing that sort of hampers my enjoyment of Elden Ring still at this point is like, you see things and you get curious and you go exploring and you're like, oh, I wonder what's over there. And then you get there. And a lot of the time, it's a fucking massive enemy that can flatten you in 2 hits, right? Which is fine. Like, that's what that game is about. But I am still up for, like, that sense of discovery, but where it's not necessarily a fucking hard boss at the end of every, investigation. Like I think like Breath of the Wild had a more pure sense of like adventure about it, right? And that some things you would discover and it would just be like a nice, cool thing, not necessarily another fight. And there's room for both. Like, I'm not slagging off Elden Ring. I think there's still room for Breath of the Wild 2 to offer something different. But
yeah,
we'll see.
for me, like seeing the scary boss is part of the adventure. Like, being scared to turn a corner or go into a cave, that's like, what the hell's going to be down here? And it may ultimately end up in, it's a massive boss that flattens me in 2 seconds. But and I obviously love Breath of the Wild, and I can't wait for the sequel and all that. And I think everything you said, Sean, is absolutely correct. But for me, that adventure is, what is going to be around the corner? What monstrosity am I going to see? I'm kind of scared to go further into the forest, but I also don't want to stop myself going further into the forest.
Yeah.
I hope people don't compare them too much. I know they're going to.
It's a never. We're going to have to do it on our fucking Game of the Year show, James. Just wait for that. That's going to be a big old laugh, that is. But yeah, I know what you mean.
We already know that Tunic's going to win.
Well, yes, as we've heard. I'll talk about that in a minute. But no, I know what you mean. Obviously, the comparisons are inevitable, but I think they're going to be distinct, different flavours of the same thing. I think they're both. There's going to be room for both. I think they're both going to excel at things the other doesn't.
Okay, right. Honestly, Sean, do you think Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year?
I honestly don't know.
James, what do you think?
I would not be surprised if it was delayed. But
one of my predictions wasn't my prediction this year that it wasn't going to come out this year.
Oh, was it?
I can't remember. Yeah, I don't think it will.
Yeah, I don't think it will either.
I think March next year is what will happen.
Well, it would save the Game of the Year awkwardness. So, in that sense, I'd be...
In which case, I want it this year. I want a battle.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But we've seen that Nintendo haven't coped brilliantly with COVID and stuff, right?
No.
And I know, like you were saying last week, about that it still feels like a game that maybe warrants new hardware, but doesn't sound like we're getting that anytime soon. But I don't know. But yeah, Elden Ring, it's really good. Did you know?
Yeah, I haven't played for a while because I've been like, I broke for Tunic and now Kirby, but I'm going to go back to it once those games are done. I think. Unless anything else just comes out in the next few weeks. But I think it's pretty quiet the next few weeks, unless I'm forgetting something.
Thank God. It's been a funny one in that I don't like. It makes me less arsed about playing other games, but also I'm not always in the mood for it. Like, because it's difficult stuff. Like, if I'm turning the Xbox on at 10 p.m, I'm probably not putting Elden Ring on because I haven't got the energy for it at that point. But then I'm also like, yeah, but most other things I play are not going to be as interesting. So maybe I'm just not going to play anything.
What I find interesting about it is when I was playing a fair bit, is that could be my 10 o'clock game, but I would then not do any bosses. I'll just go exploring.
Yeah, just go wandering.
Whereas, okay, it's now my 10 o'clock game, but now tonight I'm going to try and do a boss or do this or progress more in the story. So, yeah, I kind of treat it as both, and that's why it's just such a bloody good time sink.
Yeah. Oh, and last thing is, I remember, Matt, you mentioned ages ago you went down a lift that went really, really far down and it was quite scary.
Yes.
Yeah, holy shit, that area. Fuck, man.
Did you explore more of the area then?
Yeah, man. I think I've done all of it. I think I have.
Oh, right.
Yeah, fucking incredible.
It looks stunning from the lift, but I was like, nope, straight back up.
Oh, man, definitely go in. You can basically run through the first bit, and then it opens up and just gets even more beautiful. So, yeah, definitely have a look.
I wasn't like, I don't suffer with claustrophobia, but I was like, no, I need to be back on the ground. I'm scared enough sometimes on ground level, let alone being 500 foot down in what looks like quite a scary area.
But yeah, right. What else? So GTA Online. So this was odd in terms of I don't really know what happened here. So I redeemed the code for it, and it downloaded what it called GTA Online. Right, that was the name of the game as far as the Xbox was concerned.
You're playing on Xbox.
Yes, it's on the Series
S, right?
Yeah. And yeah, so it downloaded, installed, and then loaded it up, and it was like, oh yeah, do you want to do online? Do you want to do the campaign? I was like, let's do the campaign, because I mean that first half hour of the campaign is just great, right? You know, I mean, just all the dialogue and everything is just so tight. It's funny. It's just a really nice thing to occasionally revisit. So yeah, so I did that. It was cool. Closed it, and then turned my Xbox off. And then the following day, I turned my Xbox on, and it was like, oh, I'm downloaded GTA 5 now. And I was like, what? I've already, like, they were listed as two separate games, GTA Online and GTA 5. And I thought, like, oh, like, is one of these for the campaign? But then I played the campaign last night on the game that said it was GTA Online. So I don't know what that's about. All I know is...
Oh, right, hang on. So you downloaded one thing and had both in?
Well, yeah. So I downloaded GTA Online, which appeared to have the campaign in it. And then later the Xbox was like, oh, I am also downloading GTA 5, which is a separate game. So I don't know what the deal is there.
And normally Xbox is really good at that stuff. Yeah.
But... so that was a bit confusing. So I've now uninstalled what it said was GTA 5 because it was another 80 gig. And have just played what it calls GTA Online. That also includes the GTA 5 campaign, as far as I can tell. It's, I mean, you know, obviously the upgrades are technical ones, right? And it looks amazing. It runs beautifully. Like the fact that this game is as old as it is just absolutely bizarre. You can't tell. Like you literally can't tell. Like, okay, some of the textures perhaps not as sharp as you would like and stuff, but just in general, the sense of being in the world, like, that we've talked about the fact that Cyberpunk is, boasting about having, like crowd behavior or traffic behavior that GTA was doing 10 years ago. You play GTA 5 now and it's still like the best, in that field. It's wild. What was interesting is the way GTA Online works now. Because obviously, it's an online, it's a service game. It's been running for as long as it has. And obviously, as a fan of Destiny 2, I've been frustrated by the onboarding experience over time. There's obviously, games as complex as this get more and more complex over time because that's what people pay the money for. People get really obsessed with these things and they just want an infinite number of things to do, which makes it harder and harder to get new players in. However, the onboarding with GTA Online is really good. So I wasn't going to start a new character. My plan was you can move over a PlayStation character to the Xbox and vice versa, but you can only do it once, I believe. However, what I didn't realise is that you need to upload your character. So in my case, I would have to have uploaded my PS4 character to then recover it on the Xbox. I sold my PS4 a few months ago, so that's not happening. Because I mainly played GTA Online back in the day on PS4, so I had a lot of money and stuff I'd bought. However, it's like, if you start a new character on GTA Online, you get like 4 million to spend, and I was like, fair dues, that's pretty good. But it's really interesting the way it does it, in that it's not just like, the game starts as it always did and you've got $4 million, off you go. It's like you're sort of taken through a series of menus. So like you make your character, like your basic appearance and stuff, and then it's like so GTA Online, outside of the heists, the other thing is that like you run businesses, right? You run these like criminal businesses. So it started out with like, you can start a motorcycle club, and then it was like, you could create like a business with like a proper office, but it was like moving, like contraband around. And then there's like, you could get like a secret underground bunker with more ludicrous stuff in it. And it kept sort of adding these new business types, right, as new things to do. So this just starts off, it's like, right, which one do you want? You can have a motorcycle club or an office or a nightclub, or I can't remember, there's like one other. So it's like these four
This sounds like my careers teacher at school.
And like of the ones it offered, the only one I hadn't done previously was the nightclub. So I was like, fuck it, let's do that. And you basically, it then starts you in the game. Oh, sorry, and you choose like, which nightclub you want to buy. There's like all different ones in the city. And then you can like buy upgrades for it and stuff. And then you can also choose from like a selection of vehicles and weapons and stuff. But crucially and interestingly, so of that 4 million it gives you, you have to spend the first 3 before you can get in the world. So it's not just 4 million to do whatever you want with it. It's like, no, you can we'll set you up in the game to the tune of $3 to $4 million, and then beyond the first, whatever you don't spend, as long as you spend more than 3, whatever you don't spend, you then take into the world with you. Which I thought was a bit sly when if you're saying like, if you start a new game, you'll get $4 million. It's like, okay, well, not quite. It just means I'll get a bit of a leg up and then some cash, right?
You'll get the change.
Yeah. But it's fine, right? Because it just provides you with a way in. It's like, ultimately, of course, Rockstar are probably hoping that you will own every type of business and do, all the different missions and stuff. But as a new player, it was cool to be able to just be like, right, well, I want to run a nightclub. And then you just get a beginning, like a new character arrives in the city, and then straight away you get a phone call, right, you've got your nightclub, like fucking get over there and sort it out, and you're meeting with, so Gay Tony's in it. Although they just call him Tony now, which I don't think anyone was upset at him being called Gay Tony. Didn't seem that risque. And considering there's like other stuff that's still in GTA 5 that they probably really should take out. I don't know. I thought that was a strange thing to do, but whatever. And so like he's in it, and he's cool and funny. And it's, I don't know. I just thought, as an onboarding experience for a well-established and long-running service game, I thought it was really slick. And because
it was bad before. It's like the menu. It took ages. The menus. It's just like a whole UI mess. But it sounds good that they've onboarded better.
Yeah, man, it feels pretty slick, I would say.
Does it start with like proper like cutscenes with your custom character, or
man,
or not?
Yeah, there's all cutscenes and stuff. Like you never speak. That's the only thing, and obviously that comes across as weird when everyone else is talking. But yeah, so I put in like a couple of hours, and I've got like a nightclub that's up and running, and I'm looking forward to dragging some mates in and doing some missions and stuff. I mean, I could quite happily. I never did all of the heists. I could happily do all of those from scratch again as well. So
yeah.
See, I just had a look. I'm still trying to figure out how to play this on Xbox so that I just get the online portion, but I don't think you can do that. You have to buy GTA 5.
No, you can. They're separate. It's like it's £9 for online and. It is
Are you
separate.
sure? Because I can't find it anywhere.
Because people will complain the fact that online is free on PlayStation and the main portion of GTA 5 was only like £9 for the first few weeks. It probably still is now, but if you wanted the equivalent on Xbox, it would cost you like £9 for online and like another like 12 or 16 quid to get main GTA 5 next gen on Xbox. That's what people are complaining at.
Oh, really?
Like 26 quid on Xbox or £9 or whatever is on PlayStation.
I still can't find it.
I mean, if you've already finished GTA 5 campaign, like I would still say getting GTA Online standalone is worth it. Like 100%. There's just so much stuff to do in it, and like I said, it does rely on. It's definitely like way more fun with friends. I wouldn't ever bother trying to like talk to strangers on there because they're mostly kids and they're mostly arseholes. But broadly speaking, they're not. Like, they're not going to ruin your day unless you... Let's say, there's some missions where it sort of highlights you, right? And sort of encourages other people to target you, but they don't always bother. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's quite interesting because I know they released that kind of GTA Online single-player stuff with, like, Franklin and Dr. Dre was in it.
Yeah, I've not even got onto that stuff yet. So
it does
excited
sound good,
to have a look. Yeah. So, yeah. Probably more on that as the months go on. Like I say, I'm still sort of obsessed with Elden Ring, but we'll see. Yeah, Tunic is the other one. I can't believe none of you seem to like this all that much.
I haven't touched it.
Have you not even still played it?
Played it.
Okay. I'm not saying the criticisms aren't valid, but so far I've loved this. It's the stuff with the combat, as I say, is totally valid. I don't mind the way it feels, but I do think the level of difficulty clashes with the way it looks and sounds and feels and everything. I think it clearly puts itself across as not like a... I mean, yeah, the main character is cute, but it's not like a cutesy game. It's like, it involves like fighting and stuff. But I think the way it's presented is why so many people are like, oh, fuck, it's actually difficult. This isn't really what I signed up for. But yeah, I've just enjoyed like how, like, because it is like the stuff we were talking about with Elden Ring, it's kind of that, but massively condensed. It's not as grand as Elden Ring, of course it isn't. But in terms of like discovering little things, figuring stuff out, doing little, like, okay, some difficult fights, but then also some interesting puzzles, some like cool stuff that's sort of hidden, like sort of little perspective tricks and stuff. The stuff with the manual, I think, is ace. The picking up pages of the manual. Like, it's just a really nice, like, because obviously they're trying to sort of recreate the feeling of like you've got, like, it's like you've imported the game. Like, so like 90% of what's in the manual is in a language that you can't decipher, but then there's just little phrases in English, and it's all just enough to sort of push you towards figuring stuff out. I think it's really nicely done. But yeah, and like, but then I have like totally missed things. Like I didn't clock that you can level up your abilities.
At shrines.
Yeah. Again, it's in there. It's in the book. Like, I just don't know, for some reason skipped that page. Didn't really register. So I was like, oh man, this is getting too hard. Like, and I did turn on the invincibility mode for a bit, and then once I found out that you can improve your abilities, I was like, right, okay, no, this is fine. Turn the invincibility.
Yeah, I only found out you can upgrade at shrines after you mentioned it in the group.
Okay, yeah.
That was I was like, oh, okay, shit. Yeah. And I may have even read that page in the in the manual, but it didn't quite click. But when you said that, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'll do that now.
Yeah, it's really important. And I think quite a few people have missed that. Because I saw a tweet that was like, "Hello, everyone seems to be skipping this, but you can you can level up and stuff." So yeah, like that is kind of a problem. And also the fact that obviously it's really good that there is an invincibility mode for those that need it, but maybe a softer, difficulty adjustment would be cool.
A halfway between them, yeah.
Just you've got you've got an extra third on your health bar or whatever, just something to mitigate it somewhat.
It's a stamina one, not that.
Yeah, I guess, but everything's still as deadly as it was before. It's just infinite stamina means you can just keep rolling and never get tired. So the stamina one definitely helps. But yeah, I feel in terms of health, just having that binary thing between invincibility on or off is, I don't know, because obviously that just completely removes the challenge, right? Rather than just mitigating it a bit.
Yeah, I used it for a bit and I just felt wow, this is I wasn't a fan of the combat before, and now I'm just steamrolling enemies on down to think about strategy
it's
at
no
all.
More, yeah, the combat is made no more enjoyable by not having to think about it. It's actually just makes it more of a chore, if anything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and just makes it feel how this is, at least before, it wasn't fun, but I was having to think about it. Now I don't think about it, I can just run in and wreck
absolutely.
shop.
I don't mind the feel of the combat. I definitely agree. You're saying, compared to Death's Door, it certainly feels a bit sticky. But I don't know. I'm all right with it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Tunic. It's almost a bit too similar in terms of the things I like about it. It is almost a bit too similar to Elden Ring. I have a feeling I'm gonna either finish or get fed up with Elden Ring first, and then properly finish Tunic.
Well, what about it is that similar? Do you think?
It's, as I say, it's just the fact that it's this open world, and it's kind of what you're supposed to be doing next is constantly somewhat obscured, right? There are hints as to what you're meant to be doing, and it's so it's that sense of in terms of an open world, Tunic is tiny compared to Elden Ring, but there's this constant sense of just discovering things and feeling smart for having worked some stuff out, or doing a difficult fight or whatever. I really like it, but I get why people feel wrong-footed by oh shit, it's actually quite difficult. I don't think they needed to do that. I don't think the game needs it.
No.
So it's not they made it hard, but actually if you get into the combat, it's really fucking good. It is, but I'd have enjoyed it just as much if it was, if it was just Zelda style difficulty. I think that would have made more sense, especially because it obviously it very intentionally looks like a Zelda game. They've clearly done that on purpose. So
heavily, yeah. And the fact it's called Tunic.
Yeah, exactly. So to then be it's that, but the difficulty is actually pretty harsh. Yeah, so I think that's just a bit of a shock.
I do want to play it again. I listened to the Nextlander podcast. That's obviously the guys who left Giant Bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And they were talking about all these puzzles being incredibly difficult or weird, and they were mentioning Fez. And I never played Fez back in the day, but lots of people talked about the puzzles and requiring a notepad to play along and learn the language of the game. Now, in I can't remember how many hours I played of this game, but in the two bosses I've done and various areas, I have had some puzzles, but they've been pretty basic, and whatever I found in the instruction manual, that has basically helped me solve the puzzle. But hearing the kind of stuff, and they weren't spoiling anything, but the things they're implying, I was actually, this makes me much more interested in this game if there are quite obtuse or long puzzles that require you to travel different places and think differently about the game. I was I haven't really seen that really in the playthrough I played so far, so that actually makes me want to play more than anything else. So
it's again,
have you seen anything like that?
That feeling of being given little threads to pull on, the fact that so the game's got this made up language in it, and initially you kind of is this just nonsense? Is this just all just gibberish characters, or is this a language that I can decipher? And then 3 hours later you're flipping through this in-game instruction booklet, and you realise there's a compass with characters pointing on northeast, south, and west, and you're shit. So from that, I know what NES and WR. Right?
Oh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, and which, in and of itself, I don't think is enough to do anything with. But I'm guessing there are going to be other little things where you're like, oh shit, like I can, through context, I can work out other characters and then start, building your alphabet. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how that stuff sort of pans out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go back to it once Kirby is done, maybe Elden Ring. But no, I want to go back to Kirby, then back to Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm. Oh, final thing about Tunic. Just to be absolutely clear, not that I'm being overly defensive or bitter or anything. You haven't
been back on since.
It was the publisher that said in February that it wasn't coming to Game Pass. They tweeted about it. Since deleted, mind you. But I managed to find the cached version on Google just to make sure I wasn't going mental. So yeah, I was.
Have you pinned that as a tweet?
I haven't. I might just. If anyone wants the screenshot, I'll happily send it over. So yeah, I was as surprised as everyone else when it was announced that it was on Game Pass, but hey ho. Right, that's it for what we've been playing. So we'll do the questions. If you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/Dear TCGS. A curious listener says, Cub Scouts. You put the image into my head last week. Now please flesh out what Dr. Touch from the Ceiling Farley would be like as a Cub Scout leader. Arrow of Light for life. I had to look that up. Do you guys know what an Arrow of Light is?
No, I never went to Cubs.
No, what is it?
It's like a title you can earn in Cubs or Scouts or one of the other.
So none of us went to Cubs or Scouts?
I did Cubs, yeah.
I did Cubs, yeah, but then I didn't do Scouts.
It was so weird because when I feel like I might have talked about this before, but maybe not. Like I did Cubs and it was amazing. And then one day it was like, okay, like you're old enough to join Scouts now. Do you want to do Scouts? And initially I was like, no, I'm all right. And then sort of a few months later, kind of missed it. I was like, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to join Scouts. Why not? Not realizing that like the cutoff point between Cubs and Scouts is like when fucking puberty kicks in, right? So it's like you went from like having like a nice time with your mates to just like, oh shit, everyone's just like fighting constantly.
And I've got a boner.
Like playing games where you like playing games where
there's the episode title.
It just went from being like quite fun to just really horrific and aggressive, and I was like, yeah, no thanks.
So I've never done Cub Scouts. I don't even know anything about it. So you do Cubs, and then the official kind of follow-on is Scouts. Is that how it works?
Well, there's Beavers, right, and then there's Cubs, and then there's Scouts. Yeah,
right.
Well, I know.
I see. I hated Beavers.
I skipped Beavers.
Cubs I really liked. It was great. And then I went to Scouts, but then football was on the same day, and I was like, I'd rather do that. So
at least you're still doing something outside. I think I was very much like, oh, well, I've got a PC now, so I don't really want to do anything outside. Sorry.
I've got Minesweeper. Sod your badges.
What else do you need? I mean, I was shit at getting the badges. Were you good at that, James?
I had a few, yeah.
I imagine James was very good.
I just didn't give a fuck. I was like, no, it's just something I turn up and we just play games and stuff. It's fun, innit? Didn't really the whole idea of it being like a self-improvement thing. I was like, nah, I'm all right.
But did your kids do it, James?
They did actually. Rachel did. Actually, they both did. She did brownies, and then Asher did. He did beavers.
Nice.
Yeah, and then obviously they don't do that here, so
it's not a thing in Germany,
but pretty different.
Is it worth doing? Like again, as someone who's never done it, like should I be putting energy into stuff or what?
I don't know. I mean, Rachel really enjoyed it. Mostly because she went with people that she was at school with. So it's just all of her school friends went together and they just play games and stuff like that. It was nice to have her out the house for an hour or so.
It's one of those things. Like I would never push Isaac into it, but like I'll certainly mention it or pitch it to him. If he seems interested, then I'll support him with it. But if he isn't asked, I'm not going to be like, no, you should do this. It's really good. I can sort of take it or leave it, but I think he will like it when he's old enough.
Oh, we've tried to push Ed in so much stuff because basically my parents not my dad, but my mum had like quite a tough childhood where she was basically looking after the house like quite early on. So for me, they didn't want to push me into anything because my mum said like, no, she had a tough life. Matthew can do what he wants. But that basically meant I didn't do anything. Like there was no like, okay, you're doing this, Cub. So for Elodie, we're like, no, let's at least say you can do this, and then we'll see how she's like. So she's done every kind of dancing under the sun. She did tennis, she did football. She's doing swimming at the moment. She's done other stuff. We might put in like a golf like camp in the summer. She said she wanted to do that. I think it's better to like push, but we've never tried this Cubs or Beavers or Scouts or something. But she might like it. I bet there's kids from school who do it.
We tried all sorts of things with Rachel. She did loads of different things, and brownies is one of the only ones that really stuck. Because other stuff, she wasn't.
I think
didn't
that's
care that much.
Fine though, right? Like,
yeah, of course, yeah. You just
as long as they have the opportunity to try these things, I think that's
exactly
that's really helpful. Yeah.
Because otherwise, she'll just be happy to stay at home watching Netflix, and that's not happening. So, what are your answer?
I was going to say, we haven't actually answered the question. Flesh out Dr. Farley as a Cub Scout leader. I mean, I don't think there's much imagination required there. I think it's pretty.
It's good to see him.
I think he'd be good at it.
You know what about doing it, James?
I'd hate it. There's no way I'd ever do anything like that.
Really?
Yeah.
What was?
Sorry, you sound disappointed, Sean. But if
you were running a Cub Scout hut, I'd send Isaac to it. No danger.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Thanks.
Would you not? I mean, so like, if you had to like come up with a game in the woods, what would it be? I mean, you can just go for den building, but that's low effort.
Yeah, I was going to say building a fort or something like that. I think would be pretty good.
A bivouac.
Yeah.
Let's
build some forts. That'd be cool.
Is that it?
It's a fort that counts.
Yeah.
I was going to say it's like Fortnite, but they took the fucking building out of that, didn't they?
They did, which is interesting, isn't it?
Which didn't.
It's coming back though, apparently.
Well, isn't it? Apparently, they're now thinking of like splitting it so you can have building or no building.
Yeah, I heard lots of people actually no, Fortnite's good now.
Yeah,
it's not like idiots
really
building an intricate tower right at the end.
Because it makes sense, because that building stuff was only in there as like a holdover from the original game mode, which wasn't
from
Battle
Save
Royale
the World or whatever it's
called. Yeah. So it kind of makes sense to just get rid, but whatever. Right, Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS Commodore 64s, the Stampers, the Pickfords and the Houses are just some examples of brothers in the UK gaming industry. How would each of you fare if you had to start a gaming company with a sibling? Thank you for brightening up the week. Sincerely, Maria.
Oh dear.
I mean, that would never happen for me. I've got a sister, but she's way older than me, and no interest in video games whatsoever. Yeah.
And her being old is not a barrier, James. It's the lack of interest that's the kicker.
That is probably the bigger problem here, right there.
But no, she can take care of the business side of things.
That's true. Yeah, maybe she do the business manager. You're the ideas man.
Yeah. You're the creative. She's the suit.
Yeah,
done.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably the luckiest one out of us because my brother is actually a software developer.
All right,
so
done.
He can do all that stuff, and I'll draw the pictures and make the noises, and it'll be fine.
You just keep saying things like, "Just make it do this," and then that's it.
Yeah. Can you program it so it feels better? Make the guns feel good.
Yeah, we need some emotion engine in this game.
Yeah. I have loads of really useful notes like that I'll be able to work with. What about you, Matt?
So I don't talk to my sisters as much as I should do, but let's not go into that here.
Righto. Ominous, but right.
But we used to love playing games together. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should do just so we can get a bit closer, like we used to be.
Yeah, man.
So I might start a limited company and be like, say, look, Rachel.
Yeah, I know things haven't been great, but I was thinking we could start a game developers company together.
We haven't talked for a long. We haven't talked as much as we should do for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I know you've got, there's the kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I have started a Kickstarter, and I would like you to learn Visual Basic or whatever they use.
Don't just say like, no, you can use. Yeah. It's dead easy now. You can just use like Game Maker.
Dreams.
Yeah, just use Dreams. You just draw shit, and it's like there you go. So Mario, look,
it's like I'm just expecting by this time next year, Unreal 5. I think
you should
have you
see
seen
the
that Matrix demo
effects,
like that? That basically,
yeah. Be all right.
But she's like, no, Matt. Well, why don't you do that? Because you know a bit more. No. I'm not gonna. No, you do that. I will do catering, and then that's our company sorted. No, it wouldn't work. Wouldn't that be good? But no, I think Sean probably wins this one.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if Dave was here, I don't think that would change, right? From what little we know of his brother, yeah, I don't think they're making games together. Nason, last question. Says, what would you do if you could be completely self-indulgent for a week? Let's suppose your wife has taken the kids to see the in-laws, you've got the week off work, all the jobs in the house have been done, and you've won, say, 500 quid on a scratch card. Basically, all the things that come with being an adult that hold you back are gone for a week. No once-in-a-lifetime things, but normal or fun stuff. What do you do? That's a really good question.
I mean, I'm just staying up really late, eating takeaways and playing video games is all that's going to happen in that week.
That is largely it, isn't it?
Yeah,
I feel like making or having the excuse to go out and do more photography would be a thing. Like I met up with friend of the show Gary Dooton the other week. Like we just met up in Manchester, and he was up seeing his parents, and we were like, let's just go to Manchester and just have our cameras with us and just take pictures of stuff, because it's so hard to just make the excuse to do that, and because you feel weird doing it on your own as well anyway. But it was a really pleasant evening. So maybe that would be part of it. Get out with the RC car as well. Just fucking go to some car park at 2 a.m. Morrison's.
Yes,
razz it
and then
round.
combine it with the photography.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, maybe I'd finally do, because I've always thought it'd be funny to like try and do a drone shoot where like I've got the drone like following the RC car. And I'm like driving the RC car around and seeing if the image recognition on the drone can like follow the car around.
Yeah, I love seeing kind of those like cars drifting around a track where the drone's following it. It looks like
those
a game.
are absolutely insane, man. Yeah, some of those are ridiculous. What else? I mean, there's got to be something.
But James, like, you could stay up late every night and eat takeaway now? Like, shouldn't you be making more of the fact that you don't have any like?
I can't. Can I? Channel goes crazy if I do that. It's like, I mean, with good reason. I mean, it would be really bad if I did that. Yeah. But yeah.
Would anyone try and like learn a new skill or something? Try and
fuck that.
Emerge
what,
after
a week off and I'm learning. Absolute square. No way. I'm gonna. I'll tell you what. I will go to cinema more because I really miss going to cinema. I can go now, obviously, but it's just more of a hassle. And Jill and I can't go, and
100%
because we've got LED. So definitely go to cinema more.
I'm certain that probably by Thursday of that week, I would be having an existential crisis, though, about like what am I doing with my life. I know that would happen. It's
Yeah, sometimes I fantasize about having time on my own, and then Jill and like Elodie will go out somewhere, which is rare, but and then 2 hours in, I'm like, fucking hell, this is I can't do this on my own. This is horrendous. What am I doing?
Like, you do get that how like I don't know what to do with myself. Yeah, like if there's it's strange.
Like because I already dread like Isaac moving out.
Oh. Yeah, I don't want to think about that.
Because even though, like, I know it will like afford me loads of things, but like, you know, like just in terms of like say, just like the cinema and stuff. Like, I can actually just go to the cinema with my wife again and not have to like arrange it. But also, like, I can't like do like 2 nights away from him, and I miss him like fuck. So yeah, God knows.
Yeah, I can't think about Elodie moving out. Yeah, my hope is that she'll never move out.
Yeah,
Sean.
It's fine.
That's it.
Yeah.
She'll be at home forever.
Well, the economy will just be fucked by then. So yeah, I'll have no choice.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Fingers crossed. We're in such a like she has to stay at home then.
Yeah, man.
I'm praying for another couple of recessions.
We reckon one's not enough. It's got to be like a few.
No. I need a double dip.
Really hammer
just to definitely force her to stay home. And obviously she won't be happy. But I'm like, look, you know, we can play Monopoly now together. Isn't that? No, you don't want. No, you're 18. Okay, fine. Yeah, I mean, basically, after like day 3, I'll be like, okay, I've had McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've got a 3-day hangover, and I hate games now. So, yeah, midway through the week, I'll be like, this is okay. Now I need to go for a massive detox.
Yeah,
I'll probably do like suddenly do loads of running. Then I'll probably be dead by Thursday.
Yeah,
if it started on a Monday, I just would have done too much too soon.
Yeah. I think I mentioned this before Christmas, and I was saying like one of the things I would like to do over Christmas is watch a film in the afternoon. I think that would definitely be on this.
You can't beat that.
Yeah, man. The ultimate fucking extravagance.
Yeah, well, what a lovely Christmas treat though. Just
I never managed to do it. Didn't find the time.
No, I mean, I had an horrendous Christmas, but imagine, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Do you know,
go on.
One of my best birthdays recently was when Spider-Man on PS4 came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, so I took the day off, like, because it was my birthday. I just thought I'm going to take the day off this time. And the kids weren't at home. And then Chen surprised me because she bought it for me and I didn't know it was coming. And it was a brilliant day. It was the best day ever. I really enjoyed that day. I just sat there and played that. And then we got takeaway and it was great.
Yeah, it's the simple things, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah. This is semi-relevant. I feel like this is worth bringing up. So the gift I've asked for my birthday this week is
2 minutes to yourself?
Hey, yeah. Wouldn't that be nice, lads, eh? Imagine that. No, this is something I saw an advert for it ages ago and rolled my eyes at it, right? Because it's pure capital G gamer shit, right? And as time has gone on, I've realised I really want one. It's one of those it's like a little table that you can just put on the sofa, and it's got a bit for your drink with like a self-balancing...
a little cup
holder that balances, and then a little bit for your snacks. It's got a contactless, wireless phone charger on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like...
I've never seen one of these.
Mate.
Oh, yeah, I've seen adverts for them on Instagram. That's great.
Because there's like an official one, right? And then I found like a knockoff.
An official one?
There's like, yeah, well, you know what I mean? There's like the original. The official gamer one. No, there's like an original one is what I meant to say. And then I found an Amazon knockoff, which... doesn't look quite as nice, but like in terms of features is slightly better. So like the original one doesn't have the wireless phone charger, for example, whereas this one does. So yeah, I was just like, I said to Neil, I was like, look, I'm pretty sure this is what I want. But even though it feels ridiculous, and I sort of hate myself for wanting it, and she was like, all right, well, I'll consider it. And then like 2 days later, I was like, have you ordered it? Because the last 2 evenings I've sat down on the sofa with a can of Pepsi Max and some fucking bag of mini cheds, and I've just been like, where do I put these? Where the fuck do I put... I hate this. Where's my fucking little gamer table?
Can't charge my phone.
I fucking need it. So
can't melt my bollocks off.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's happening.
That's amazing. I wonder if her friend said, "Oh, well, what did you get Sean for his birthday?" She'd be like, "Oh, nothing."
She'd probably say, say something less embarrassing, like, "Oh, you wanted some porn DVDs." Or something,
porn. Yeah, she'd rather say either "I forgot" or porn than say, "Well, this game, the original, not the original, but an Amazon one we're charging."
It's a knock-on, but it's actually got better features. So who's winning?
Also, can you send me a link, Sean?
I will.
Good. Yeah, so that's Thursday. I can't wait to see that.
Maybe I'll do an unboxing. That'll be my birthday stream. Unboxing the gamer table.
We need to do a deal and get a TCGS branded.
Oh my god,
that'd be.
Have we got stickers? We haven't got any stickers, have we?
No.
We should get some stickers made, just in case.
For the gamer tables.
For the gamer tables.
Oh, can you imagine that? Imagine doing an advert for that. Be like, I endorse this
event and/or product. We could just buy a load in and put some stickers on them and then sell them.
No, we can just talk to the original manufacturer and say, "That's
far too sensible, Matt."
or that.
Right, I think that's enough embarrassing confessions from me. Do you want to do the socials, Matt?
There's always time for more, but yeah, okay. So yeah, TCGS Con, less than 30 tickets remain now. If you want to go to TCGS Con on the 2nd of July for Laser Crest, up to 4 hours, a live show with us on stage, and then gaming consoles afterwards, then please go to tcgs.co/TCGSCon. Tickets are limited, and once they go, then that's pretty much it. On the stream front, there's been no streams this week. Obviously, it's Sean's birthday, where he's getting his gamer table this Thursday. So no Sean stream. And James finished House of Ashes last week. So we have a quick break, or short break, and then Sean or James will be back for more. But if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime Gaming. And if you can still go over to our account, still give us your free sub. We really, really appreciate it. Go over there and give us your free sub. On Dark Horse tip, we're on last week's episode, James finished Dark Souls, and so this week it's...
Did I?
Well, you did, yeah.
Okay.
You did, yeah. So on this week's episode, this Friday morning, Dark Horse 37, it's called Lore 2, where little-known podcaster Sean Bell and his friend Andy Hamilton join the show to talk about Dark Souls lore. It's basically one of the best episodes of all series, so that is obviously not on this feed. Search Dark Horse on your podcast player of choice, and then you can watch that. Basically, there's 2 episodes left. This one's called Lore 2. The next one after that is called Q&A. That is the end of Dark Horse, as we know it. Patreon, as we mentioned at the beginning, patreon.com/TCGS. There is exclusive monthly podcasts, talks-overs, and April's £8.50 and above tier is going to be, we're changing things up, but do not support us on Patreon until it hits the first of the month, otherwise you'll get charged twice. Yeah. Epic Game Store stuff, if you're buying V-Bucks or Rocket League stuff on console or PC or a game on the Epic Game Store, enter creator code TCGS and we get a very small kickback. And the website is tcgs.co for links to our socials, all our podcasts, our Discord, tickets, and all the usual stuff.
Cool. Thanks for listening. It's been nice. I've enjoyed this. We're full roster next week, right? And then is it the week after?
I believe so.
I think it's the week after that. Things might be different again, but we'll see. We're very flaky this year, aren't we? With good reason.
Yeah, we're all over the place. But a couple of kind of anniversaries to speak about.
God, yeah.
So it's TCGS's 6th anniversary on the 6th of April, but April's a very, very busy month for us. So we're probably going to do something birthday-wise towards the end of the month.
Yeah.
But just, so this is the one year we haven't forgot about it. We have remembered, but we're too busy.
Yeah.
But there will be something to celebrate 6th anniversary of that. And also our 300th episode of this show, it also happens, I think we've calculated it's like the 9th of May or whatever.
Okay.
The plan is we're going to do a live podcast on Twitch. That's the current plan. Things may change, obviously, but yeah, those are 2 anniversaries, 6th birthday, 300th episode. We've got them covered, just in different guises.
Exciting stuff. 300 episodes, that's fucking wild.
It is a bit.
It's mad.
Too many, if anything. Yeah. Should delete some of them.
I kind of want to.
I can suggest some.
No.
I reckon the first... when do you reckon we really hit our stride? I reckon maybe the first...
292?
Wasn't it when Dave was not here?
That's true. Well,
yeah. What a golden age, yeah.
Dave
again, fans of the golden age will be loving this episode.
Yeah. Right, cool. Thank you very much for listening. And, just thanks for letting us be natural, really. Really appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
We'll see you next week with more probably Elden Ring and Kirby, because there's nothing else coming out.
Yeah.
Cheers, everyone.
Who knows?
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.